Brooklyn's lost 3 in a row. They're 2 games in back of Philadelphia for the top seed in the East. James Harden saying that he's very confident he'll be back from a strained hamstring before the playoffs start on May 22nd. Brooklyn, including tonight, has 6 games left in the regular season. In Charlotte, in the second quarter, Bulls lead the Hornets 48-33. Baseball, Angels designate future Hall of Famer Albert Pujols for assignment. ESPN's Jeff Bassett.
The Angels feel like they're at a point right now where with Mike Trout playing like he is, with Ohtani and Anthony Rendon and Walsh and Dylan Bundy, they've got a chance to win and every roster spot matters. And, well, they freed one up today.
ESPN's Jeff Bassett on Albert Pujols, who's batting .198 with the Angels this season. He's in the final year of a 10-year contract. All indications are that the 41-year-old wants to continue his career. Jose Altuve celebrated his 31st birthday today with a go-ahead 3-run homer in the 8th in the Bronx, and the Astros outlast the Yankees 7-4. Blue Jays pound the A's 10-4 in Oakland. Randall Grichuk, a 3-run homer he drove in 5. Zach Wheeler, a complete game 3-hitter, fanning 8 as the Phillies blank the Brewers 2-0. Red Sox rally for a 12-9 win over the Tigers. Mets take the Cardinals 4-1.
Hey, it's Greeny already looking ahead to Monday with the very latest on the Aaron Rodgers saga, and it's the final week of the NBA regular season. We'll get you ready for the playoffs. It's me, Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
Isn't this a sports show?
Rudy, can you be the reporter, as you're uniquely qualified to be?
Sure.
Can you be the reporter asking me about the events that were happening at late night as Snoop Dogg was saying curse words, saying naughty words, and having a money gun and stripper poles?
Almost entirely.
Mr. Jeff Long, sir, how could you allow these atrocious acts to happen?
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
I'm going to need you to atrocious acts. What atrocious acts are you referring to?
The children were scarred, sir.
In what regard? In what way? Excuse you. What's your name? What's your name?
My name is Joshua Brisco with an E.
Take the show with you by listening on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app at 810WHB.com or by searching for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
I want your boss's business card. I'm going to make a phone call. I'm Jeff Bleepin' Long. I'm the athletic director at the University of Kansas. You will not question my judgment. You will do no such thing. You know where you're going to have to go? Miles away from here. You're going to have miles to go. On ESPN Plus, I'm Jeff Long.
This is Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
We have kind of a funny conundrum. A conundrum? On tonight's show. The Royals played their game earlier today. It's over. It's in the books. We've got a full 9 innings to discuss if we'd like to. Also means we could go back and talk about, I don't know, let's say the whole last series, just to kind of come up with a nice little a section of the season to put a bow on. Obviously, whenever we're on, while the Royals are playing, we can't do play-by-play. So today was going to be the day. Like, you know what? We'll do Chiefs, draft throughout the course of the week. And then on Thursday, we'll have ourselves a chance to talk about the Kansas City Royals a little bit. Does anyone within the sound of my voice right now want us to do that?
Has something happened?
I don't know if anybody, Royals fans or otherwise right now, actually wants to hear us spend any amount of time talking about your hometown baseball team.
They got a winning record.
They do. And they will for at least two more games.
Things have been great.
Well, Rudy, I understand that you've had a similar problem as to me, which is it's hard to watch the games really closely when you're on a radio show.
My back is to the TV.
That's true. Your back is to the TV. I can see it, but of course it's on mute. And, kind of trying to keep up while we're doing a show about something else. It's a balancing act. So I understand if you maybe had sort of missed the long string of L's this team has taken.
You mean line drives?
Nope. No, I sure don't. It's the joke, honest observation that Rudy made earlier.
Like two L's, but kind of like at an angle, and one of them's backwards, and you kind of push them together.
So it's W? No, I don't mean that either.
Ah.
It's good perspective to note that the Royals are a little over 500 right now. Again, they will be for at least 2 more games, and hopefully they'll be over 500 for the rest of the season. I'm holding out hope. Why not? It's good perspective because the first month of the season, they were way out ahead of where we expected them to be. And if you would have asked anybody at the beginning of this season, hey, what is a successful Royals season? What do you expect them to be? If you would have offered me a simple 500 record over the course of the 2021 season, if you would have told me the Royals are going to be 81-81 when it was all said and done, I would have, boom, deal, Howie. I would have taken that deal absolutely as soon as it was offered to me. But whenever you start off hot and then you start sliding back to 500, it feels bad. Whenever you start out cold and start sliding your way up to 500, it feels maybe a little better even than it should have. You say, you know what, we're on an upward trajectory. But this is the way that all sports work, right? Where the most recent thing, the most memorable thing, is both the thing that sticks in your head and usually it's the best representation of what you really are. Baseball's unique, though, because you have this tremendously large sample size over the course of a season. You get 162 games. You essentially double the next bulkiest sport in the major American sports. The NBA season feels long sometimes. Sometimes it feels like it, outside of pandemic times, the NBA season can drag. If the NBA season was literally half as many games as it is right now, I personally would not complain. I know there are a million logistical issues that will never happen. But if the NBA season got cut in half, I would probably watch more total basketball. Seems counterintuitive, but every game means twice as much. If there were 162 NBA games every year, I would be tuning into the season about now, I think, because there would be a whole lot of basketball still to come. Baseball's weird in that regard. So I don't think, especially whenever so much, hinges on a starting pitcher who goes every 4 or 5 days. I don't think that you should see these last 5 games for the Royals, which they've lost if you haven't been paying attention. I didn't say that. I didn't say it. You didn't even say that.
Wow.
Rudy just yelled, what? But he yelled it exclusively to me.
In the talkback.
Not into the actual on-air microphone.
Take 2.
Just into you want to run it back really quick?
Yeah, that'd be great.
The Royals, if you haven't been paying attention, have lost 5 in a row.
What?
Nailed it.
First try.
It was a 4-game sweep at the hands of Cleveland that wrapped up today, wasting a really nice outing by Danny Duffy. His final line isn't quite as kind as his actual outing was. He ended up with 3 earned runs. One of those came in the 2nd inning, and one of those came in the 5th, and then another earned in the 6th. But altogether, it's an outing you'll take 100 times out of 100 from Danny Duffy. He went out there and put up 107 pitches and over 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. Gave up a handful of hits, but just watching that game as it unfolded, it's an outing that you'll absolutely take. The offense today did something remarkable. Genuinely remarkable. I had been tracking this over the course of the game, had seen it on Twitter, but it's actually it's one of those things that's almost more jarring in box score form. If you have ESPN's box score up, I imagine this is the case for most of them, I just am sort of at this point subconsciously trained to go to ESPN.com. But under the batting section, they'll list the doubles, who hit it, what inning, what pitcher, or how many, what pitcher, all that stuff, how many they've got over the season. Triples, how many, what pitcher. Home runs, how many, what was the situation. RBI, 2-out RBI, double plays, runs left on scoring position, left on base, fielding errors, all that stuff. I just read all of the ones that were on Cleveland's side of the box score because the Royals side of the box score goes like this. Grounded into double play, team runners in scoring position, team left on base, double plays. Because the Royals today, not only did they obviously not score a run, therefore no RBI, didn't have an extra base hit. Did not have an extra base hit today against Tristan McKenzie and his still 4.94 ERA. I'm not willing to say that like this offense is trash and it's all gone to hell because we've seen Benintendi and Dozier both sort of rejuvenate their seasons at the same time, and that's a wonderful thing. You would love to have a healthy Alberto Mondesi back in the lineup, then you can retool around him. That would be great. Today, Ryan O'Hearn was DHing. He had 1 walk and 3 strikeouts. One of them was left with him shooting nearly visible visual daggers down the third base line, but it was basically everything except for Danny Duffy for the most part, who again wasn't perfect, had runners on base, but got out of the jams. Pretty much everybody except for Danny Duffy was hard to watch today. It was pretty bad baseball. Even seeing Chris Bubich come out of the bullpen, which, can I be honest, apparently he did that for the first time on Sunday. That one ended up going straight over my head somehow.
Apparently, I forgot he was called up as well.
I didn't. Thank you, Rudy, because Rudy's a baseball nerd.
Yeah, but we have an excuse. We're working.
This
during
was
the
on
show.
Sunday, though.
Yeah,
apparently, he pitched on Sunday.
Sunday fun day. Okay, we're out. It's the one day of the week that we sometimes get to have fun. Okay.
I just totally missed that he was.
I forgot.
I know the bullpen was depleted. I know it was in bad shape. I know that was part of the reason that you see Junis get moved. I know there's been a lot of moving
not
parts.
Going well.
Not going well either.
Not great.
But that one just fully. They said I saw a tweet before they came back from break during the TV broadcast today, and someone said Chris Bubich is coming out, and I went, what? Why?
They haven't called up Bobby Witt yet, right?
They have not.
We haven't missed that.
They have not. No, although he did have a not so great, I think, day recently.
Double-A. No, he doesn't care. He's not even really trying. It doesn't matter until you get to the big leagues, okay? He's just ready to hit dingers and Kaufman.
Do you know how buck wild it is that today Danny Duffy gave up 3 earned runs over the course of 5 2/3, and he has now a total of a 1.26 ERA, and that's not even like the lead of today's show in terms of even just talking about the Royals.
I think heading into the game, his ERA was like a 0.4.
Yeah.
He tripled it.
Yeah.
Bum.
And it's still
incredible.
A stunning number.
He's been like there was like a little bit of, okay, like, you know, not that we see Duffy even do it for a starter too at that level that often, but it was kind of like, okay, but it's just every start he just keeps building and building on it.
He threw 107 pitches today. And I know that, like, and listen, we'll talk to David Lesky of the Inside the Crown Substack newsletter here in about a little under 2 hours. And this will be one of the questions that I ask him is about Duffy, obviously. But, like, the issue with Duffy wasn't really his starts, like the beginning of the season. It's, you know, you see him sort of fade over the course of the year and everything. But if you can confidently tell me the last time that he looked this good over the first this first leg of the season, over a team's first 30 games, I'd love to hear about it, because he looks excellent right now. And it's been totally overshadowed by the fact that his lineup today, nobody hit an extra base hit.
I don't think he has looked this good to begin the year, to start a year off, because I remember Lesky pointing out essentially this is the best he's pitched since, I believe it would have been 2016 when he started, like, he went to the bullpen. I might have the year wrong. Basically, he started off the year in the bullpen, moved back to the rotation, and then was lights out to finish the year. Yeah. And that's really the best year that he's had as a starting pitcher. But, you know, that to start a year off, we have not seen this from Danny Duffy.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. It's not just maybe the best, one of the best stretches of his pitching career.
Yep.
It probably is the best start to a season he's ever had. And it's hard to find the juice to talk about right now because they just lost 5 in a row. They just got swept by Cleveland.
The offense is wildly inconsistent. Like, they have nights where they're great and everybody hits, and it is a talented lineup. But then there are nights where they just, days like today where they just don't do anything. And then the bullpen, Kyle Zimmer getting hurt certainly throws like a little bit of a wrench in there, right? But like the bullpen to start off the year was great, and now this series they've been a disaster. Like, the bullpen's been the biggest issue. Like, the offense has not been great during this series. The bullpen has lost them multiple games in this series, and untimely hitting. Royals have had a decent amount of runners in scoring position and just have failed to get more. 4 runs against Shane Bieber's good. They probably realistically should have 6 or 7.
Yeah,
and if you have 6 or
absolutely.
7, you win the game.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. Here's one other thing. I heard this on the broadcast today too. I think it was towards the end as they're sort of wrapping it up, saying that the Royals had now just suffered the 4-game sweep against Cleveland, one of the hottest teams in baseball. Do you know why Cleveland's one of the hottest teams in baseball?
Because they just swept the Royals.
Because they just swept the Royals! What are they doing? Do you know what they were coming into this series? They were 13 and 13.
I was going to say they were like 4 games back of the Royals, maybe?
They were
3 games back?
500. They were a 500 baseball team. And yes, they're hot now. Because they just won 4 in a row. So now they're 17 and 13. This is not a logic puzzle. They beat the White Sox. They won 2 out of 3 against the White Sox after winning 2 out of 3 against the Twins, and God bless them. Before that, they went 1 and 3 against the Yankees.
The Twins have not been good this year, and the White Sox, as we're hearing, got all kinds of problems.
Yeah, and who could have seen that coming?
And the least of which is R.I.P. Eloy.
Still forever with us in our hearts.
Never gone, but not forgotten.
Now forgotten. I mean, like. Here's the thing that's really gonna rustle my jimmies in August. It's gonna be the fact that suddenly the AL Central is pretty well in play. Not really suddenly. I mean, it feels like it right now. But the Tigers stink. Minnesota's got all their issues. The White Sox have all these issues, and Cleveland is Cleveland. The Royals should actually be just in it at this point.
Did it again?
You keep talking straight to me, Rudy. You got to talk into the microphone with that button on.
I'm really tired. It's been a long day.
You got your first shot yesterday.
It's been a long day, man.
And they're not out of it right now. This is not me saying I'm not throwing. This is not the last time we'll talk about the Royals in 2021. I'm not throwing dirt on them right now. Lord willing, we'll be able to talk about them well through the summer because
R.I.P. Eloy.
We gotta get to training camp somehow. But it doesn't feel. I just want them to feel like mid-season. You can say, well, if they sweep Cleveland this time, then all of a sudden they're only 1 game back of them. Obviously, cleaning up a lot in one series. And you know what? Chicago figured out some of their stuff, but they're within striking distance too, because the Royals are hanging around 500 or so, and we're at the midway point of the season, so of course you're within striking distance. You're 500 halfway through. I think that's all that I want right now, which is probably the same thing that I would have said before this Cleveland series. And it is absolutely good to note that if they would have split the series with the Tigers and then split the series with Cleveland, again, Cleveland is better than Detroit, so take that for what you will. But if they would have just split those 2 series, we'd be talking very differently here today. And whenever we're looking back on this team and talking about this team in August, we are not going to remember that they swept the Tigers and then a couple series later got swept by Cleveland in a 4-game series. It's just, they're just going to be 500 against those 2 teams in those 2 stretches. But right now, in the moment, whenever we're in an environment where you are watching these games every time, and it's impacting you on some level because it's the team that you're rooting for, and you're watching them lose 5 games in a row. And for us, we're coming to a microphone that opens up every day at a given time. We're going to talk about the thing the baseball team just did. as we were here in this moment, it's not fun. Because they don't look very good right now. They're better than this. They're not as good as what we saw last month. And there it is.
It's important to point out because we had yours 5747, new Twitch commenter, looks like, has pointed out, hey, based off projections at the beginning of the year, I think the most optimistic projections were 500. The thing is, and we talked about this, essentially at the start of the segment, they set the bar high at the beginning of the year. Yeah. Like how you get, the end results is obviously it's the end result, but how you got there does determine how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Again, if you had told me, you said this exact same thing. If you had told me prior to the season that the Royals would be where they're at right now, I'd be like, oh, great. They've gotten off to a good start. And they have. But the last week of baseball for them has been really, really bad. And This is a team that is trying to win. And also, it's not even just that. It's also now a division that clearly is in play. Even with the start of the Royals season, I think there was maybe some long-term, the White Sox are super talented. Lesky certainly, he's talked about this on a show about the belief that the Twins will get things going because they're a talented team, and they were good last year. And the Indians seem to always have pretty good pitching. This division is clearly in play. And while, games that you don't necessarily lose the division in May, you could be looking back at this at the end of the year, and essentially a sweep to the Indians could be the reason why you didn't win the division.
Yeah, 100%.
Could be the reason why you're not in the playoffs. And for a team that we've seen a title recently, but we've also seen how hard it is to make the playoffs in baseball. Yeah. A little bit different now, more teams, but that Royals dynasty was 2 seasons.
Right.
You know what I mean? It is hard in baseball to be in the playoffs year in and year out. And while this is certainly not the end of a run, this seems to be the beginning of it all with plenty of young players coming up. And ideally the offense will get better and more consistent with Alberto Mondesi getting back, with,
whenever that happens.
The promotion of Bobby Witt Jr. eventually. That will hopefully make this lineup a little bit more, just a little longer, a little bit more dynamic, just a little bit more consistent. Kyle Zimmer gets, what I mean? There are some things to be hopeful for still if you're the Royals about them maybe getting better. They're still young prospects, Daniel Lynch, Jackson Kowar, but these games against divisional opponents do matter in May.
Yeah, because they for all the reasons you laid out, and also just look, I remember the 2 years that they were I think total ended up being one game under 500. I think they were exactly 500 and then 80 and 82.
Yeah, 16 and 17
in those years. I was telling you at the All-Star break, this team's not good enough. Get something in return for these guys who are otherwise going to end up leaving in free agency. Here's the difference for this year. Like you said, Rudy, and you kind of, I guess, have already kind of given me the difference. This is supposed to be the start. They should not be looking at the trade deadline, going, okay, we're gonna
trade everybody.
We're gonna send either assets away or we're gonna send assets to try to bring back more pro-ready prospects. They probably shouldn't be doing much of anything around the deadline this year. But if you are within spitting distance of the playoffs, and even if you can have a bunch of young, especially a bunch of young players, especially a bunch of young pitchers, playing meaningful baseball games on the other side of the All-Star break, looking to actually be in competition for a playoff spot, that's only good for everybody. There's no harm there. The only way there's harm there is if you overextend yourself trying to make that make sense, which obviously is in no way any sort of guarantee. Because you please don't go try to trade for someone to replace Andrew Benintendi if he's slumping again halfway through the season. But take what you have and try to get something out of it. And if the thing that costs you that chance is getting swept by Cleveland at the beginning of May, that's super disappointing. And there are ramifications to a stretch like this.
Yeah, the only I would hope the Royals also view this thing. I am afraid that they're going to be close in and they're going to move prospects like a pretty good haul, because they winning is big for Dave Moore. The only trades they really should be looking to make are trades almost kind of like acquiring guys like Andrew Benintendi, where it's like, okay, we're getting young major league players who have multiple years of control, right? So like, you're not really selling the future because you're adding a guy who helps you now and the future.
Right.
Going for rental players would, and I hope Dayton Moore will at least look at it that way. Like, if we can add talented players to the big league roster now who can be here long term, think Jorge Soler, think Andrew Benintendi, guys who they've traded for, who have, big league talent.
Soler's also going to be interesting because that would actually be the one guy right now that you kind of feel like
probably,
he's in flux a little bit.
So if that's the decision, if you get those guys, the right move is probably going to be, okay, Santana's hitting the ball well. Let's probably move him and get prospects. He's not part of the long-term plan. Jorge Soler, I don't think it's part of the long-term plan. I'm fine with it if he was.
I don't think they're going to sell either, though.
I don't think they will. I'm just saying.
Which is fine.
That's what they probably should.
Probably. Yeah, they probably should, and they probably will.
Unless you get the deadline and all of a sudden you find yourself 5 games in the division league because all of a sudden Mondesi and Witt got up and Witt Jr. got up and you just took off, right? Like if something like that happens. If it's close, you sell the players who you don't think are going to be on the team next year, and you just keep rolling.
But it would be wonderful to end up at a spot where that's not. I don't want to be having that conversation on May 6th.
Yes.
Which is, by the way, the day today. I know you've been off for about a week, but today is May 6th.
I will say, I think there is, and again, part of this, the Royals' start to the season changes all of this, right? And that absolutely matters. I think this is kind of a situation where it's almost like going back to 16 when you said like this is a 500 team. I just think this is a 500 team.
Yeah.
And I think the right move, and we're months away from this even being a thing where the Royals should not be thinking about trading or anything right now. We're talking 2 months in the future, where I think the Royals are going to be 2 months from now. If I was Dayton Moore, I would be looking to offload guys I don't think are part of the future, which is probably might just be Santana. Jorge Soler, maybe Jesse Hahn if he gets healthy and looks great, but probably not even him because he's still pretty cheap. It's a pretty cost-controlled player. But I think that's probably what I think that's how the season probably is / should play. I think it's a 500 team. I think you're probably looking to move on from guys you don't think are going to be here long term. I also think this should be the last year that's ever even on the table because they've clearly shown. I don't know if this is 2012, going back. I don't know if this is 2012 or 2013, but essentially the 14-15 run is here. This should be the end of it all.
Right. This should be the last core. This should be the last year of getting up to speed.
Yes.
And I'm also, again, I'm not mad about the idea of this being the last year that gets up to speed. I was not buying playoff tickets.
But then they had their
2 weeks ago. I mean, that's again.
I went and bought all the playoff tickets.
No, I really didn't. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I wasn't trying to buy playoff tickets a week ago. I don't think that this is going to be a team that ends up regularly sweeping series in a positive way. I think it's going to be a team that is inconsistent because this is now becoming a go-to in my quiver here. But in all sports, and in no place is it clearer than baseball. In all sports, you are what you are over a representative sample size. It's the video of Sam Darnold that got tweeted out. If Patrick Mahomes made these throws, the media would be losing their mind. They would be pooping their pants. They would be defecating because they were so excited about these throws Patrick Mahomes was making. But look at Sam Darnold making them.
Just watch out, Sam Darnold 2021/2.
The issue,
I forgot what year it was.
If there are Nathan Peterman highlights. Every single quarterback who is good enough to play NFL football has a great highlight reel somewhere. Tim Tebow was an incredible college player, one of the greatest of all time. And he may end up being one of the greatest tight ends of all time. We'll find out. But that dude had no business standing behind center at the NFL level. Brody Croyle's got good college highlights. He's probably got some pretty good pro highlights. He got a decent sample size. I could definitely find you a through. I could find you a few, though. I could absolutely find you a few.
Every time he threw a football, he got hurt.
Everybody who plays these sports on a professional level has highlights, and everyone who plays sports has lowlights. I could find you a very small handful of Patrick Mahomes misses or interceptions or missed reads or him drifting too far back in the pocket, him taking a sack that he shouldn't have taken. That exists. The issue isn't, do you have an incredible highlight? Do you have a low light? The question is, what does everything... If these are all data points out on a spectrum, where's your biggest cluster of dots? This is one of the reasons that I think analytics also, by the way, are like actually really useful in all sorts of circumstances. Because in some ways, it'll make you rethink things a little bit better. It'll help you to visualize what successes and failures look like. If you think a success is one dot all the way on the right side and you think failure is one dot all the way on the left side, you've made your decision with far too little information. We were making decisions on the Royals. I don't know if we really were. We definitely will. We definitely weren't. But what you got through a month was you got a small, random sample size from the Royals where you got some great moments. You got some great comebacks. You got clutch, and clutch is very hard to quantify. Clutch and luck are probably closer than you would think. You got this incredible, like, shot out of a cannon start, and now that the thing shot out of a cannon just splashed up against a brick wall. Over 162, this team's probably going to end up being a little under 500. And if you want to say, you know what, I'm actually buying the first month enough to say I think they're going to be actually 500. I think they're a little over 500. Then that's perfectly fine. But they're not the team they were in April, and they're also not the team they've been in May.
Which even that team in April, like, they were winning games, but there was a lot of signs that showed that, hey, they might be getting a bit lucky. And some of it seems to be like a genuine talent, right? Like some of that come from behind. It's a combination of everything, right? There's a little bit of luck that happens. It's a little bit of talent. I think a little bit of just like, hey, just the ability to stick with it, which is a big deal in baseball because it's such a hard sport in general. But like, there were a lot of signs in April that kind of showed that, hey, this might start to turn a little bit sideways. Not saying they're all of a sudden going to become one of the 5 worst teams in baseball, but they might not be one of the 5 best teams in baseball. Like, at one time they had the best record. Right. Because, like, yeah, you would look at runs, and they're scoring a lot of runs. But, like, all those runs came in, like, 2 games. Through the first, like, 10 games of the year, it was like, I don't know. This is probably an over-exaggeration, I would say, but it seemed like 75% of the runs came in those first 2 games of the season. Mm-hmm. Like, there were signs in April that this was coming, that this sort of stretch of play was coming. But again, the Royals set the bar high, and hey, that's what, as an organization, I'm sure that's what they want. They want the bar set high because it means they're playing well. And that does change how you feel about the team. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be excited for the rest of the year. Enjoy it. Royals are going to be playing meaningful baseball for a while, and that's something we have not had for a while. Mm-hmm. Enjoy this while you can. I think they're going to be in it for the majority of the year because I'm just not totally sold about this division. Maybe the White Sox's talent will just eventually overcome their manager. Managing and injuries, R.I.P. Eloy. Yeah. But also Luis Robert seems to be rough there. I don't know if they've said R.I.P. to him yet or if he's still in critical condition. I was prepared to tweet out the prayer hands for him and everything. I still feel like their talent probably will just eventually kind of will them up because talent, I think, generally prevails. But maybe not this year, right? Like, maybe the Royals will be in it. It's going to be fun, but this team is not... This is not a world-beating team, but you should be excited about the future because things seem to be pretty good. Like, the core seems to be solid. Still some things to figure out. Pitching, is obviously, like, here's the thing.
There's some things to figure out, like the pitching and the hitting and some of the choices that are made.
We obviously have there's a young core of pitchers. We obviously don't know how they're all going to pan out. Some of the concession
food still TBD. Are they going to end up with a new stadium at some point? But other than that...
See John Sherman just sitting on the concrete talking. He was just like sitting in the aisle on the concrete talking to some fan.
I did not see that.
I saw some post about, now name any other owner in baseball who would do this. Just like, come on.
It's literally the Sam Darnold thing.
Yeah.
It's literally the Sam Darnold. What are we talking about? What? Why? Why is that? people got to pick better things to get worked up on Twitter about. There's your real take for now. Also, two comments. Oh, one from yours 5747 mentioning that there's talk of them having Pujols. I just wanted to mention that Albert Pujols got waived today, got DFA'd today. That's bonkers. There's a stat about him that I'll bring you next segment. We're going to take a break. JT mentions the fielding. That one's actually a real one. So it's the hitting and the pitching and the fielding currently.
The fielding seems the easiest to fix if Mondesi can ever stay healthy, which might make it the hardest to fix.
I like that you got there eventually.
Because, it's easy. If Mondesi's there, they're better. The whole infield defense is significantly better. And also the outfield defense is better because now Witt's in the outfield. But also, he's hurt.
I just like that you said that out loud and then you heard it back in your headphones and then you realized what you were saying.
I knew what I was saying the whole time. It's easy yet hard.
But the most important thing is from Human Torch 101 on Twitch saying, if you want to yell about Angel Hernandez, it might make us all feel better. We'll do that whenever we come back.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
If ever there was a time to give that special someone in your life the gift of spa, it's now. Par Excellence gift cards can be purchased through our website or our Par Excellence app. Par Excellence Salon and Day Spa. Our spa experience will deliver stress relief and pure relaxation.
The natural way to look beautiful. The beautiful way to look natural. Par Excellence.
Choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm attorney Mike DePasquale. I played linebacker. I won a state championship. I played Division I ball. I know a thing or two about winning. A winning attitude starts with confidence. My law firm is so confident in what we do that if we take your injury case and we don't win, you don't pay us a dime. So if you've been hurt, call me. My team wants to win for you. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know. 816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Buying or selling your home is a big decision, maybe the largest transaction of your life. So make sure you have a real estate expert on your side. Shannon Brimacombe and Stacy Cohen with Reese Nichols. Brimacombe and Cohen rank among the top 1% of all agents in the city, with over 100 million in transactions in the past 2 years. Dedication and decades in the business. Contact Shannon Brimacombe at 913-269-1740 and find out why Brimacombe and Cohen are moving people and moving houses.
Hey guys, remember when you used to look forward to intimacy? Do you find yourself getting anxious or stressed out about it, even avoiding the situation? Studies show that more than half of men over 50 will experience ED over the course of their life. Viagra only works some of the time, and side effects can be brutal. West Coast Men's Health uses acoustic wave energy to treat the real cause of ED. By breaking down plaque, blood flow is restored, and you're back in the game. No pills, no shots, no pain. Isn't it time you put the stress of ED behind you for good? Schedule a consultation today at westcoastmenshealth.com or give us a call.
Call West Coast Men's Health at 913-243-3200. That's 913-243-3200. Call now, 913-243-3200. HSA cards welcome.
Looking for the best place to store and show off your car? Come check out the KC Underground. KC Underground is part of the Kansas City Automotive Museum and provides a safe place to store your vehicle with 24-hour monitoring. Call today to reserve a spot underground for your car. Use the promo code 810 and you'll receive a 10% discount. Go to theksunderground.com or call 913-322-4227. KC Underground, Kansas City's car collection.
Hi KC, this is Hunter Dozier. I'm teaming up with Zarda Barbecue to step up big for Big Brothers Big Sisters Kansas City with an all-new sandwich, the Big Dozier. This one's big league. Zarda's award-winning limited reserve burn-ins, juicy pulled pork, melted provolone cheese, and crispy onion straws. And of course, my favorite Zarda sauce. It's all stacked tall on a toasted Roma bun. The Big Dozier. Delicious.
Let's step up big for Big Brothers Big Sisters. The Big Dozier at Zarda Barbecue. Come get some.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
My favorite memory of this last run of Royals players is every time this year that I said they're going to be a 500 team, and then everyone yelled at me.
Of course you make it about you.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Here's the crazy Albert Pujols stat that I was promising you from Ryan M. Spader on Twitter. Albert Pujols has gotten a hit off of 10.21% of all players to ever throw a pitch in an MLB game.
It's wild.
That seems impossible. He tweeted, there have been, I'm going to round up just a little bit, 20,000 players in MLB history. It's actually 19,979 pitchers in MLB history, of which 10,501 have thrown even just one pitch. Those players, 20,000 players, 10,501 have thrown even just one pitch. Albert Pujols has a hit off of 1,072 of them, which includes position players who threw a pitch. If you would have told me 10% of active pitchers, I would have said that's probably about right.
That's what I thought the stat was. Like the first time I saw it, I thought it was active
history
pitchers or active players who had thrown a pitch. And then I reread it and I was like, oh no.
Of all pitchers.
All pitchers.
It's unbelievable.
Whoa.
I hope he ends up somewhere.
Did you see the other stat? So he had an OPS over 900 every year with the Cardinals, and then did it once with the Angels. Like he
was so good in St. Louis.
That drop from St. Louis to Los Angeles, there were some solid years in there, right? Like there were years where he was a good, solid baseball player, but whew, it was just that. I mean, hey, great deal for Pujols.
He has nearly 6,000 total bases.
That's a lot.
He's also got 667 home runs, so it would be cool to see him get to 700. I don't know how long that would take or who he would do it with.
Might take a while.
If he would have gotten one less, he would have been just a lot of fun to just see, like Larry Johnson tweet about, you know? But it would have been...
He can at least get two more.
Well, let me tell you about this then, Rudy. He has 669 doubles.
If he just needs to get back in the big leagues, hit 2 home runs, no doubles. If you have a chance for a W, to stop it first. You don't go for 3 actually, because if you get thrown out, you get counted with a double.
Yeah.
You just stop it first. Just hit 2 home runs. You'll walk off. And you're just never heard of again.
Having almost as many home runs as doubles seems impossible.
Yeah.
That's a wild stat. Also, do you want to guess in his 21-year career how many triples he's hit?
3.
He hit 4 in his first season.
69.
This might actually make the stat better.
154.
In his first season as a pro,
902.
You got to just stop saying nonsense. In 2001, at age 21, he had 4 triples. In 2002, he had 2. His career, he has 16. Since 2010, when he had 1, since then, he has had 1 triple. Albert Pujols had 1. He had 1 triple from 2011 through 2021. In a decade, he had 1 triple. And it was, let's see, when was this? When was his last triple? 2014.
There's also the whole deal.
He had 1 triple with the Angels.
Oh,
that's a better way of putting it.
There's also the thing, I think it was back in 2003 against the Cubs when he was with the Cardinals, where he was in the outfield, but he could not throw a baseball. And so they were just kind of hiding him in the outfield. And so anytime a ball was hit to the outfield, he would catch it, and the center fielder would have to run over, and he would just toss the ball to the center fielder because he could still hit. I believe it was probably rotator cuff. He could still hit, and the guy was a really good hitter. Couldn't throw a baseball, though. Arm was all messed up. So he was just out there in the outfield with the center fielder just having to bust his butt to get over there.
Crazy. And it does kind of bum me out that, and again, he's 41, so this isn't stunning, but he was unbelievable And his most recent lasting impression, as is the case for many great baseball players who signed 10-year deals at age 31, or 32, I think, is going to be as sort of a lumbering grandpa that wants to play first base every day, even though that's just not how it's going to work. He's hitting under 200 this year for the first time in his career.
There is a group of baseball fans that never saw Albert Pujols play with the Cardinals, right? And just like saw him dominate. And here's the deal: like one day we're gonna be talking about this with like Patrick Mahomes. Now, of course, he'll probably still be great at like 50 because he's Patrick Mahomes. But like, there's gonna like it is wild to think about that, right? Like there are Angels fans who like only know Albert Pujols as this like overpaid bum, essentially.
Counterpoint: no one under the age of 20 gives a bleep about baseball.
Great point.
So everyone at least saw a couple years of him in St.
How
Louis.
old is Bobby Witt? I think he cares a little bit. I think he's 21 actually.
Anthony Edwards didn't know who A-Rod was. Like, I'm not talking about people playing baseball. I'm saying people watching baseball.
That thing is weird because there's also like an interview. So he said that, but like a week before
he played baseball.
He was talking about A-Rod. I think there was like a video of him from like a week before talking about A-Rod.
He was talking about having like he thought he could have gone pro in baseball if he would have wanted to, but
I think he's lying. I think he knew who A-Rod was.
Wow,
it'd be really hard to not know who A-Rod was.
According to Baseball Reference, if I'm reading
Rodgers
this right,
is such a great quarterback.
I don't know why, but that was going to be the time that I yelled at you for just your 15th interruption in this show, and that one was funny. So you did it.
Thank you.
Rudy plays an incredibly dangerous game, which is just it's kind of it's really the mentality of a hitter, more maybe a 3-point shooter. I don't think it's a hitter though, where it's just, listen, man, if I can get on base 30% of the time, I'm a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
See if 1 in 3 of these suckers goes in. And he was having a cold streak.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had a nice double right there.
Shooters keep shooting. Hitters keep swinging.
So if I'm reading Baseball Reference correctly, Albert Pujols leads baseball history in one category. Would you like to throw a dart at what that might be? I've got, kind of the whole, like, back of the baseball card with a few advanced stats in there also. This is not like, it's not OPS plus. Like, it's...
hit by pitches? No. Because I don't think it's... my first thing was going to be walks, but Barry Bonds should have that.
I bet his... This is where the show gets weirdly obsessed with Barry Bonds and Albert Pujols for 15 minutes.
Man, I
bet Barry Bonds has a lot of these.
I don't know.
Barry Bonds has homers, walks, and intentional walks.
Yeah. I figured it was both. Definitely both of the walks. Because, like, I remember one time he got... People would pitch around him when bases were loaded.
Yeah.
Like, they were just like, nah, yeah, we'd much rather walk in a guy than let this guy swing.
Barry Bonds was awesome, and I'm not willing to hear criticism.
Barry Bonds is the greatest.
Barry Bonds was awesome.
He's the GOAT. He's the best. And I loved how whenever I would play MLB The Show back in the day, because of Barry Bonds' whole issue, he was not actually Barry Bonds in the game,
right?
Because they could not put his name in the game. But you knew who he was because there was just some random dude named Reggie playing right field for the Giants. Just like, I think that's Barry.
Reggie Jones. So here's 2 stats. We have another breaker now. So here's what Albert Pujols leads the league in. Grounded in the double place.
Oh, okay.
403, according to Baseball Reference. Here's also something funny.
Good hitters hit into a lot of double plays because they hit the ball hard.
Just in terms of, like, crazy Barry Bonds stats. So right now, Albert Pujols just got cut at age 41, right? He's got DFA'd at age 41. Where, his... You know what? Let's do this. Albert Pujols' career batting average is .298.
Get over 3.
In Barry Bonds' age 43 season, his last season, he was hitting .276. His OBP at age 42 was .480. Albert Pujols hasn't had an OBP of .480.
.480 at your peak is outstanding.
Albert Pujols, I'm sorry. Here's your stat today that's accidentally disrespectful to Albert Pujols. Barry Bonds' OBP in his final year before the Giants stopped bringing him back And no team thought he was worth it for everything that was around him, right? Which, by the way, wasn't like a crazy crime scandal. It was steroid butt. Barry Bonds' OBP in his age 42 season was 480. Albert Pujols never had that in a season. Ever. His highest OBP was 443. Barry Bonds was better than that his last 2 seasons.
He was a cheat code, man.
Literally. And the code was steroids. Unbelievable. That man was walked 2,558 times. What do we do? Like, it's just every baseball stat.
Baseball got boring when Barry Bonds got kicked out.
He walked almost in the same stretch of time. He got almost twice as many walks as Albert Pujols did. As two of the greatest hitters of our time. Barry Bonds.
JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
Without question, the moms have been heroes this past year. Mothers and mother figures, they've been by our side doing everything they can. Why not express your appreciation with a gift of fine jewelry from Shane Company this Mother's Day? Surprise her with beautiful stud earrings. She'll get the highest quality in town. We have diamond studs in the classic round shape as well as princess cuts. Or choose colorful sapphire studs. A necklace featuring her family's birthstones makes a wonderful gift. Or let our jewelry consultants help you create a necklace with meaningful charms just for her. We have gifts in every price range. Visit our store or shop online where you'll find the same great selection and get fast 2-day shipping. On May 9th, let's honor the moms, the heroes close to our hearts. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
You know what goes well with craft ale and canned beer? Merlot and Pinot? First dates and date nights? Marvin Gaye and Green Day? A fire pit from Complete Home Concepts. 816-471-HOME. 816-471-HOME.
Tired of feeling like the kitchen help at your own party? Join in on the fun and be the host with the most with an outdoor kitchen from Complete Home Concepts. Call the outdoor kitchen experts for a consultation and estimate. 816-471-HOME. 816-471-HOME.
30% more meat. Good Sense, your favorite KC sub shop, is now serving 30% more meat on all their freshly sliced cold subs. Good Sense has always been the place to go for soft bread baked fresh twice each day. Meat sliced to order, and their enormous 16-inch subs, so they were already good. Now with 30% more meat, they just got gooder. Stop by your locally owned Good Sense today to try the 30% meatier experience. Good Sense.
Par excellence.
If ever there was a time to give that special someone in your life the gift of spa, it's now. Par Excellence gift cards can be purchased through our website or our Par Excellence app. Par Excellence Salon and Day Spa. Our spa experience will deliver stress relief and pure relaxation.
The natural way to look beautiful. The beautiful way to look natural. Par excellence.
Pain creeps up on you. It starts with slight discomfort and inflammation. You wait for it to go away, but it gets worse and worse. Now, it never stops and the pain has zapped your mobility. You're out of options except for surgery. Stop right there. You have another choice for relief. That's QC Kinetics. This is Stephen St. John. The medical professionals at QC Kinetics help jumpstart the healing process without surgery or drugs. They use powerful, non-invasive regenerative cell treatments so the body heals itself. Patients who thought they'd never see an end to the pain are telling everyone they know about their astonishing recoveries. Maybe you strained a muscle lifting something, twisted a knee or ankle exercising, or just over time, you've noticed joint aches and pains. You need to check out QC Kinetics Regenerative Cell Solutions that go to work relieving that pain with treatments right in the office. Call today for your free consultation at QC Kinetics right off 435 and State Line, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
There are so many names that I'm loosely aware of. I was like, wait a second, what?
With Joshua Brisco.
I had one more good one. Hold on. I had one more good one, and then I lost. I know we need to take a break, Rudy. I know. I need to say the name. I need to say the name of another obscure veteran of the Diamondbacks. Mike Leake!
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I realized that we didn't actually talk about Angel Hernandez at all, so I do want to at least tell you this really quick. I have a plan for robo-umpires. I even have the acronym ready to go. I even have the tagline ready to go, okay? So the automated umpires are known as Automated Necessary Gaff Evaluation Litigators. The tagline is, of course, an ANGEL behind every plate.
Could have used one last night.
You're gonna have a bunch of automated angels. Who wouldn't want that?
We all want angels.
We all want that. And occasionally, it's gonna shoot a spark out of its neck, and Brady Singer's gonna come and punch it.
Puts them in the outfield.
And you can by the way, you can punch a robot. That's fine. Hey, big thing next. Our first conversation in a long time with Craig Stout. I'll explain the context of that next.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Harry's Razors just came out with their sharpest blades ever. But unlike other razor companies, they're not charging you more. Harry's new sharper blades are still as low as $2 each. You heard me right, just $2. How do they do it? Harry's owns a German factory that's been honing razor blades for 100 years. They source their steel from Sweden and own the entire manufacturing process, from research and development to the factory floor. It allows them to keep the prices lower. How confident are they? A 100% quality guarantee. You'll see it at harrys.com. Blades are even delivered directly to you. No getting unmasked and standing in line. They're delivered straight to your door, with or without a subscription. And right now, Harry's has a great offer for my listeners. New customers get $5 off a Harry's trial set when you use the promo code PETRO, P-E-T-R-O, at harrys.com. That's a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and travel cover, all for just $3, plus free shipping. That's razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and travel cover, all for $3, shipped to you for free. Only at harrys.com, only with promo code PETRO.
Hi. This is Jim announcing that May is barbecue month at Smoke and Fire. Weber is barbecue. Smoke and Fire has the region's largest selection of Weber charcoal, gas grills, and smokers. Charcoal grills starting at $37.99. Gas grills as low as $75. Don't forget to treat yourself to a new tool set and grill brush. Think family, think friends, think Smoke and Fire.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is a no-charge appraisal? It's never asking for a credit card or charging for a home appraisal if we can't close your loan.
No risk on refinancing, but I live for danger.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. Refinancing with Golden Oak is anything but risky business. And with our mortgage rates at a low 2.25%, you can save hundreds each month and skip your next 2 payments. And remember, our local lending experts speak mortgage and love translating for our customers. Removing risk from your next purchase or refi means you can find your thrills elsewhere.
Skydiving? No. Cliff jumping. Wait, hang gliding.
Aren't you afraid of heights?
Stop. You're embarrassing me.
Get started today with our simple zipline tool at goldenoaklending.com.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit. JLB Corporation, 8595 College Boulevard, Overland Park, Kansas.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-259-8642. 800-259-8642. 800-259-8642.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You're listening to the most powerful sports station in the country. Sports Radio 810, WHB Kansas City, the power of sports.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Scott Ryder. 7 games in the NBA tonight, all with playoff implications or play-in tourney implications. Marquee matchup in Dallas very early in the third quarter. The Nets have a 65-63 lead on the Mavericks. Kyrie Irving has 25 points. Kevin Durant with 16. Luka Doncic with 19 for the Mavericks, who've won 7 of 10. Brooklyn looking to avoid a fourth straight loss. They're 2 games in back of Philly, who's idle tonight for the top spot in the East. Raptors a 73-70 lead on the Wizards late in the third quarter. Washington 3 games up on Toronto for the final play-in tourney spot. At the half, the Pistons lead the Grizzlies 58-49. Memphis in the West playoff mix. Bulls hammering the Hornets 101-79 in the third quarter. Charlotte 2 games ahead of Indiana for the 8th seed in the East. To baseball, and the Angels have designated future Hall of Famer Albert Pujols for assignment. He's hitting 198 with LA this season. All implications are that he wants to continue his career. He's 41 years old. 1 game in progress right now. 8th inning in Miami. Marlins have a 3-1 lead on the Diamondbacks. Plenty of day baseball. Astros knock off the Yankees 7-4 in New York. Ends the Yankees' 5-game winning streak. And Jose Altuve on his 31st birthday, go-ahead 3-run homer in the 8th off Chad Green. Rodon Alvarez had 3 hits and 2 home runs in that win for Houston. Phillies have won 4 straight, blanked the Brewers 2-0. In the NHL, the Bruins lead the Rangers 3-0 early third period in Boston.
We're back on Friday. In 2018, draft was filled with quarterbacks, and we'll tell you which one is going to win the Super Bowl first. Friday morning on Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin on ESPN Radio.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
I hate Nick Bolton, and I hate him because he's a Missouri Tiger.
With Joshua Brisco. I hate Nick Bolton. On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I got to delete that file from the system. I can't keep having that happen. I cannot deal with that. Especially in a moment like this. We are... I was going to say going back to the good old days, but that's not exactly true for a reason I'll explain momentarily. I am so very happy to say that Craig Stout, now of the KC Sports Network, a new project that if you're on Twitter at all, you've almost certainly seen, and if not, we'll let Craig give us some of the details. Craig Stout joins us here on Almost Entirely Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at BarleyHop. You can follow at KC Sports Network as well. I will also give you this detail. The last time that Craig Stout was on with us, this show was on ESPN Kansas City instead of being on Sports Radio 810, and I have the hour of the podcast in front of me. Here is the title of the hour of the podcast. Craig Stout makes us optimistic about Breland Speaks.
Oh, boy.
Craig, do you think you can top that today?
Listen, when you come in with fire takes, like being optimistic about Breland Speaks, I understand a 3-year ban from this radio station. Like, I get it. I understand why that all happened. I did want to come back and just kind of update you guys. Didn't work out, guys. I don't know if you saw the news, but it didn't necessarily work out that way. Yeah, it's great to be back. It's good to be on here with you, Josh. I mean, we're reunited, and it feels so good. Yes, let's do this.
It's also really generous of you to, in your first 2 minutes back on the show, to create your own liner that will be here for you next time. It just could not have been executed more perfectly. And yeah, I do think you've served your time with the Breland Speaks take in the rear view. And
I don't know, that was pretty bad.
I think we just you're on probation still for sure. Like, I don't know where you're gonna take us on Josh Kane-Doe later, but if you end up being loud wrong on him, we may have to look at a couple more years.
Hey, at least Josh Kane-Doe was taken in day 3.
Yes,
I could be wrong about him. So
absolutely.
being wrong about the second rounder, that stings a little bit.
Here's the thing. You are not anywhere near the most wrong person in Kansas City about him, like, including every single person in the Chiefs organization. I mean, I think we all, I think most of us generally want to be at least a little optimistic about the new Chiefs. Like, it's just it's nicer that way. Being a hater isn't nearly as fun as everybody on Twitter accuses me of it being. And it feels good to be rooting for the Chiefs' new picks. We all got hit with a little Breland Speak shrapnel at some point.
Yeah, well, I'm just curious here. I heard the intro bumper there about you hating Nick Bolton. Are we sure that we're all optimistic about the Chiefs?
I hate Nick Bolton, and I hate him because he's a Missouri Tiger. Why did you do it again, Rudy? Yes, that one.
I thought that I heard that. I thought that I heard that correctly.
Yeah, you did, and I'm gonna say that there was some selective editing. My actual and that's never no. Between Rudy and Beards, I've been taken out of context for the sake of a liner 0 times over the last 5 years or whatever. It's absolutely never happened. And that wasn't the first time. Yeah, no, I hate him personally. It's because he's a Tiger. I obviously hate Mizzou for some reason I haven't yet found, but it's in my heart, I can tell. I hate all linebackers. I hate all defensive players. I hate anyone who's not Patrick Mahomes. It's probably going to get edited into me saying I hate Patrick Mahomes, which I also don't want to happen. But
right. I like that you hate all defensive players, though, because, you brought me on here, the guy who wants to only talk about defense. So this is going to be a blast.
If you ask other people who and what I hate, you'll end up with a much longer list than I would have thought to have provided. But that, that comes to the territory, I guess. Before we get into all of these wonderful defensive players and all sorts of fun and just exciting things to talk about, because you're back, baby. It feels so good. Mm-hmm. But tell everybody a little bit about KC Sports Network. Maybe some people who haven't heard about it yet. I don't know. I don't think anybody from the network has been on the show since the announcement. We talked to Matt Derrick the day before, and he gave me absolutely no hint, so he kept it locked down. But now it's all out there in the open. Tell me a little bit about the network and what you guys are building over there.
Yeah, KC Sports Network, it's a group of 3 of us that worked at Arrowhead Pride previous to this. We still love Arrowhead Pride and all of that. Nothing but love for that organization. But me, Ken Swanson, Matt Lane, joined together with BJ Kissel, Nick Lesky, Jeff Allen, and Mike DeVito, and then also, we landed Matt Derrick right at the very end to be a beat writer here. So we've got this group of people that we are putting together to talk about the Chiefs. There's going to be a free podcast network. All of those people are going to be on the free podcast network. We're going to give you daily podcasts for that. We are also going to have daily newsletters via Substack that we are going to give you. You can sign up for free right now and get a taste of some of what we're doing there. But the goal is basically to have this group of people giving a unique insight, because there's a bunch of people that have been writing about the Chiefs from an X's and O's perspective for a long time, a bunch of players that have played under Andy Reid, and getting together all these minds and trying to come up with something that can educate and inform while still being kind of fun. We're trying to help everybody be a little smarter football fan for the Chiefs, because, you're living in the golden era of Chiefs football. We should appreciate it on every level that we can. So that's the goal. That's what we're doing. And KC Sports Network is the home of it, kcsportsnetwork.com. If you go there, you can get literally everything that we've got via links and see our cool, logos and everything like that we're about to put on merch. And I'm only going to wear that from here on out. That's going to exclusively be my wardrobe. So that's the elevator pitch for it. But please go sign up, subscribe to everything, and you'll kind of get a good idea of what's coming. We're going to slow roll it up. July 1st is going to be the big day that everything's going to kick off, and you're going to be getting daily stuff for you on July 1st.
I'm really excited for you guys. I'm really excited to see what you do as well. But everybody so far seems really jazzed about it, and I'm very happy for you guys to have all of this energy, all pointing in the same direction, stuff that you guys all feel like you've got your ownership of and everything. It's a great deal for you guys, and I have no doubt at all that this may be heretical on some level. So if it is, I really don't mean this as any slight to anybody prior, but you say we're living in the golden era of Chiefs football, and I thought you were going to say the golden era of Chiefs coverage, because I also think that's true. Again, if that cuts out somebody from years past, maybe we're making up for it with volume now, now, but there's so much good stuff out there, and the fact that you guys are coming together to do it is also really exciting.
Absolutely. There's room for everybody. I mean, that's the thing. Nobody's out here trying to elbow anybody out. There's room for everybody. Everybody's got their own voice and their own approach, and it's awesome that we are living in this era of both Chiefs coverage and Chiefs football, because it's nice when the team is good and the people covering it are good as well.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more. So let's talk about some of it then. I'll start with Nick Bolton, because let me give you my actual take, and then you can tell me where I'm being an idiot. I was not thrilled at draft announcement time. I wasn't apoplectic. This is not a pick that's going to get me tased, so I'm already doing better than I was last year at this time. But
small baby steps.
Baby steps, man. We got to take the wins where we can get them, and even a neutral at this point is kind of a dub. But I'm a little lukewarm, because we're now looking at 2 years in a row spending a second-round pick on linebackers. Very different players, and that'll play different positions, different roles. I get that, but it's spending a lot on the linebacker position after also spending a lot financially on Anthony Hitchens, and on a guy that I think it seems like he's really here to be the Anthony Hitchens replacement, probably starting after this upcoming season. And if he can be a little upgrade and also do it more cheaply, there's absolutely value in that. I think for me, it may also come back to the fact that I really thought they were going to end up spending one of these two picks on a receiver, and also I'm more excited about Creed Humphrey than I am Nick Bolton. None of my things are really an indictment on Nick Bolton, the football player. I think it's a lot of the sort of extenuating circumstances that have me being a little lukewarm. Where are you at on the Bolton pick, kind of in the 30,000-foot view, and then we can get into a few specifics?
I think that's accurate. Like, I do think that there are enough things individually outside of Nick Bolton himself that people have question marks, and myself included. Now, that being said, I was very high on Nick Bolton. I have a lot of the same concerns that everybody else has, but I was very high on Nick Bolton. And as you spoke there about him, maybe being the future Mike, taking over for Anthony Hitchens, getting a little cheaper there, I do believe that is the full plan. And if that's the case, it's hard to argue with being able to find a Mike linebacker in a Steve Spagnuolo defense. And I want to make sure that I say the Steve Spagnuolo part of that, because a lot of other defenses, they're not necessarily relied on as much. It's not necessarily a thumper, call all the fronts roles. Lots of guys can handle that in varying defenses and stuff like that. Steve Spagnuolo needs his guy. We have seen Anthony Hitchens, when he has missed time over the past 2 years, kind of the glue to the defense dissolve a little bit. And you've seen some cracks in the run game, in the pass game, people not being on the same page. Now all of a sudden you've got somebody with that continuity. You've got a backup, a true backup Mike that you can trust to do all those things. And I do think that his career arc has a higher ceiling than Anthony Hitchens. So when you look at it under that lens, as a future Mike for Spagnuolo, I do think that it makes a ton of sense, because I don't know that you are able to find those guys later on in the draft, because they get caught up, early third and things like that. That's when a lot of those guys go. So I do think the value is appropriate for that, even though I'm not sure if he can cover particularly well.
Right. So I want to start with the thing that you just said that's new to my ears that I think is really interesting, that there is more value to that position in a Spags defense than in the rest of the NFL as a whole. Because I actually, that makes sense. You say, you know what, maybe we're spending a little higher pick than we'd love to or whatever on a guy that's not going to be making an immediate impact, or as big an immediate impact as you might hope for from the 58th overall pick, because he's more valuable in the future than you would initially give him credit for. I think that's really interesting. I do also wonder how this is also. I don't want to turn this into Josh questions Steve Spagnuolo, because that's a losing side that I do not want a part of. But it's kind of interesting that Spags has so many sort of specific things. It seems like there is an edge prototype, and they went and got Frank Clark so Spags could have a Spags end. And this pick for Josh Kando is a Spags defensive end. And they've gotten a lot of safeties, because the Spags defense is thriving on great safety play, which also means you can apparently, I didn't see this coming, but you can apparently get away with cheaper and lesser investments in the cornerback position, which made me really uncomfortable all the way up until it didn't anymore, because apparently Spags knows what he's doing. But what is all of that doing for Spags? Say that again.
I said, to be clear, I'm not even there yet with
right.
the quarterback thing. Like I'm still not comfortable with that. But I do think that Steve Spagnuolo, and this is not to say that he's not adaptable, because he certainly is. We know that to be the case. You know, he has a very versatile coverage scheme. He throws a little bit of everything at everybody. I think the one key ingredient that you have to be to play for Steve Spagnuolo is smart. Like, you have to be smart, because he's going to throw 12 different things at you on a given play, and you've got to read it quickly, you've got to react quickly, and you've got to go with that. So that means a lot of these positions where you can get by with maybe a little less athleticism. Like, let's say, defensive end, where you can play a power run kind of guy and go through the tackle a little more, or linebacker, where you don't necessarily need to have ultra range, or safety, where there's a market inefficiency in the NFL because there are so many good safeties. Now all of a sudden Steve Spagnuolo targets those sorts of positions and finds these guys that fit his true prototype because they're available and they're able to be gotten at the types of picks that the Chiefs are getting. Obviously, we all want Jalen Ramsey. We all want Devin Bush. We all want these guys that are ultra awesome at everything. Steve Spagnuolo does too. You wouldn't pass on those types of guys, but they go top 10. The Chiefs are always going to be good, and so they're always going to be at the bottom of the, every single round that they pick. So it makes it a lot easier for Spagnuolo to say, get me that linebacker because he checks every single box for me, and I know that I can put him in this hole and that our defense got better.
You use one of my absolute favorite phrases to just beat into the ground, which is market inefficiencies, where you find places to get those in a positive way. Maybe the result is that they pay a premium for a Mike linebacker in this defense. Do you think that's fair?
I think that that's fair. I mean, I do think that that's fair because it does mean so much more. You value those sorts of things in the same way that you value a left tackle to protect Patrick Mahomes. Steve Spagnuolo values that middle linebacker. Now, here's the problem. Good middle linebackers go for the same cost as, good left tackles.
Right.
So it's a lot more palatable to make that move at the end of the second round, because then the value of it is just so much more. Now, again, this is just Steve Spagnuolo's defense. I'm just talking about that specifically, not the NFL as a whole, but I do think that he values it in that kind of way.
So tell me what you think the linebackers are going to look like in 2021, because it doesn't seem to me, as a person that knows less about defenses, linebackers, football, life, maybe, I don't know, than you do. But it doesn't seem to me like there's an easy, three puzzle pieces to snap into place between Hitchens and Bolton and Willie Gay and Ben Neiman. As this linebacker group comes together, specifically for 2021, before we look down the line, where do you think those guys are going to fit in terms of, is Hitchens still going to be the Mike, which is where I'm leaning at this point, and then what happens at Sam and Will? Can Bolton, Veach mentioned that he thinks that Bolton can play at the will, but the coverage concerns are obviously there. How do you see that most likely shaking out?
Well, it's going to, if we're just talking about the base defense there, obviously Hitchens is going to be the Mike. I do think that Bolton is going to play that will linebacker role, because we've seen that be Damian Wilson. We've seen that be Ben Neiman. I mean, 2 years ago when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, Damian Wilson was the will linebacker with Reggie Ragland at the Sam.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that, that everything, that Damian Wilson had to be an ultra good coverage linebacker by any means. It obviously helps, but I do think that they're going to put Bolton there just because Willie Gay is, he's long, he's very dense, and I think he's going to fit that Sam role and the base better. My real question is going to be in the nickel. I think we're all slotting in Hitchens as the Mike and Willie Gay as that buck or that backside linebacker. We'll see what happens there. Spagnuolo's fine with running out to bigger guys to play the run, so I could see Nick Bolton getting that nod over Willie Gay. I don't think that they're going to take Hitchens off the field in those roles. And then the dime linebacker role is Ben Neiman's for right now. I know that a lot of Chiefs fans are going, ugh, right now, but if Willie Gay can get the playbook down, I do think that they've got high hopes for him as a coverage linebacker. So there is an avenue here where Willie Gay could play base downs and dime downs, but not those nickel downs. I'm going to be very curious if we get to see training camp at all this year to see what that nickel rotation is, because I think that's the key for what we'll see out of Bolton this year.
That's a good point, because I think they're in sub packages like 70 or 75% of the time, and we end up talking about base stuff too often. So I'll certainly take that. What do you think that ends up looking like into the future? And I guess really what I'm doing there, because we don't have any more information right now. You don't get the pleasure of having a camp and a year of tape on these guys. But what I'm really anticipating is that in 2022 we're talking about a very similar group of guys minus Anthony Hitchens in all likelihood at this point. So how do you think all of that could shift around if Hitchens is out of the picture next year?
I think Bolton goes like for Hitchens. I think he is the Mike linebacker in the base, in the nickel, and you see Nick Bolton and Willie Gay running those two spots. Obviously, you hope that Willie Gay picks up enough to where he's going to end up being a true three-down linebacker. He's going to play that Will role or the Sam role, depending on, who they get to play in the base there. And then he's going to play that buck, and he will play the dime linebacker, and he will essentially get 100% of the Chiefs' defensive snaps, with Nick Bolton kind of taking that Anthony Hitchens role where he's on the field for roughly 80% of the snaps and coming off in the dime.
Which would be fun. If that all pans out that way, and we're now years into the future, if everybody hits not even hits their ceiling, if everybody is on the right side of their possible range of outcomes, that would be a whole lot of fun, because it's something you would never have to really worry about again that could end up developing into a strength. I don't know if you have a feel for how likely you think all of that is, or if that's just a best case scenario, but I don't feel like I learned nearly as much about Willie Gay last year as I was hoping to, but maybe that changes this season.
I do think that this is a very important season for him. Coming in your rookie year and having a COVID offseason is rough. Yeah. It really is rough. And Willie is the kind of guy that, frankly didn't get super awesome coaching. So he really kind of needed that build-up. I do think that year of being under Spagnuolo that you started to see some stride. That injury at the end of the year really kind of robbed us of the important snaps that we got to see him, kind of progress as a player. So I do have high hopes for him. I think that Nick Bolton's going to get on the field quick because he's a very high IQ guy. I think Steve Spagnuolo is going to trust him implicitly. So I'm not worried about him being on the field so much. It's just, can Willie Gay make enough of a stride to where we get to see him in the dime, because that's where the Chiefs really need a guy that can go out there and cover and play with some athleticism, because frankly they're missing that in the middle of the field.
Yeah, that's impossible, literally impossible to argue, I think, even on the internet. So let's talk about the other defensive guy from this class, and then we'll see where we end up. Josh Kando is very interesting to me. I'm going to do the thing that everyone has done, and most people, I think, have done inaccurately, which is by invoking the names of both Breland Speaks, the aforementioned, and also Tano Passanio, because what everyone, I think, is doing, I think what a lot of fans are doing totally reasonably, is going, oh, great, another developmental defensive end who needs something. What is that thing? Different for all of them. And obviously, they're all very different players with different traits and different skill sets and different needs and all of that. But also, Josh Kando was the 144th pick. He wasn't traded up for in the second round or just taken in the second round. It's a fourth-round pick. It's not quite as stressful, but also I don't know what to make of him at this point, because he seems like he has more question marks than anything at this point. So what are you feeling right now on Josh Kando, and also even the choice to take him with that pick?
Yeah, I actually really like that swing, because different from a Breland Speaks or a Tano Passanio, he was the number one defensive end recruit coming out of high school. I mean, Bama wanted him, Clemson wanted him, Baylor wanted him, and he went to Florida State, and that coaching staff has had so much upheaval, and you just didn't see any growth in his game from his freshman year to essentially his senior year. And there were some injuries in there for certain, especially at the end of his junior year, and you kind of saw that linger into his senior year a little bit. But he's not like those guys because he's an ultra-athletic guy that has all the tools. Like, he's already learned them. He's not having to learn a new position or, in Tano's case, having to learn football. You know,
Right.
he just didn't have a whole lot of experience there. Joshua Kando knows all of that stuff. The reason that he fell to this point is because he just didn't develop as a player in college, like at all. Marvin Wilson was another player along that Florida State offensive line or defensive line that went undrafted and went to the Senior Bowl and looked good, you know, at the Senior Bowl, just went undrafted, completely undrafted, because teams don't like to gamble on guys that haven't really shown any development. But it becomes very clear, you know, I think you kind of heard those guys hint around it a little bit after they drafted Kando. Kind of became a little clear. It's like, listen, we're banking on the guy that came out of high school. And when you're drafting a guy like that in the 4th round, where, you know, obviously we all hope he's going to be L'Jarius Sneed or, you know, something to that effect, but more often than not, you don't hit on those picks in a big way. I'm more than happy to take a swing on a guy like that, because you're putting him in Brendan Daly's hands and saying, here's your raw lump of clay. Please do something with this. Oh, and by the way, he also knows pass rush moves. And
Right.
he's a super athlete. So, I mean, it's not the same as those other guys, which I get why we'd be gun shy with all of that. But it is a 4th-round pick. I think it's a more calculated risk than we've seen in the past.
So with all of that and accepting all of that, like what is it that still needs to come together? Because that's the only part where I sort of start getting hung up, because you say he's a physical freak who does have the tools, who does know some pass rush moves, who is also still something that can be developed. And whatever specifics you feel like you can like comfortably speak on, what is there for him to do? What are the first few steps that Spags and Brendan Daly need to take with him?
It's going to be play ID, figuring out what's happening on the field, reading pulling blockers, reading the offensive tackle sets. A lot of times, you know, guys like this that win with a lot of athleticism, you know, he's got the tools and he's got the pass rush toolbox, but he doesn't know how to use it. You know, he's decided pre-snap, I'm going to do this. You know, that's not always the case, obviously, but there's a lot of times where he's already made up his mind what he's going to do to try and beat the tackle rather than reacting to what's happening on the field. And so that's the part that needs to develop just a little bit more here to get on the field. So that's not a small hurdle to overcome, to be clear. That's something that, especially for Steve Spagnuolo, you have to be able to know what's going on and be playing with everybody else. You know, if you've got 10 guys on the same page and one guy that's doing something else, NFL offenses are going to make you absolutely pay by taking advantage of that one guy. So that's where the real growth has to come from him. It's just equipping him, teaching him how to use all of those tools at his disposal. That's really what it is.
This is also a very subjective, probably very difficult question, but how long do you expect, like, I'm rephrasing that halfway through. I'm interrupting myself. I don't want to ask how long you expect that to take, because I feel like that's impossible for you to know. How long are you willing to kind of like give him to show that to be, even if to just see it start coming together?
I think that we'll probably see it start coming together maybe at the end of this year, maybe in training camp next year. Like, I am fully prepared to watch Joshua Kando essentially get a redshirt season in this rotation, because I think the high ceiling is worth waiting on, worth developing. Now, he could surprise me, and he could surprise the Chiefs and everything like that, and immediately be able to come out and contribute, particularly in the dime when he's not having to react to a run-pass conflict. Basically, he knows that it's going to be a passing play, and he gets to pin his ears back. Those are the situations where I could really see him getting used this year, just basically saying, get out there, let's see what you got, because that's what they've done with some of those guys in the past. It would make sense. But, yeah, if you're starting to see that come along by the end of year one, especially in training camp after year one, I think that you're really going to feel like you've got something there. If you don't see it, maybe by the middle of year two or end of year two, maybe you start questioning whether or not he's going to develop enough within his rookie contract.
Yeah, and I think the other thing there that I'm going to say out loud in hopes of, like, reminding myself of this is that we we don't get to make the real evaluation with the result known in the future. Like, I'm looking back at the 2018 draft for a thing that I'm writing, and getting to Dorian O'Daniel, it's so disappointing. But at the time, I was so like, that pick made all the sense in the world to me. As just like this super athletic linebacker that, for whatever reason, never ended up doing anything other than play special teams for Spags. And maybe it goes back to a whole bunch of the other stuff that we talked about around Bolton. But I still think that Kendo creates an interesting swing for all the reasons you explained, and then we hope that it pans out. And also, knowing the coaching that he's going to have, it seems like if he's going to have a situation to fit into, this would be the one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to be fair to, the Breland Speaks and the Tano Passino and the, Dorian O'Daniels that are out there in the world, they were walking into a situation where the defensive coaching staff wasn't as good as the one that they have now. Like, the opportunity to maximize these guys, as we've seen. I mean, you talked about the cornerbacks earlier. You couldn't have convinced me that Sam Madison was going to get this group of guys to play like they are, or that Dave Merritt was going to get some of the guys that we kind of written off a little bit to play like they are. So it really is a situation where you have to include all of that stuff. Now, Joshua Kendo was lumped onto the same roster as Breland Speaks with that same coaching staff. I'd have some questions about development, a lot more than I do now. But because you're putting him in Brendan Daly and Steve Spagnuolo's hands, you start to have a little more optimism that he's going to hit that ceiling.
I think this class ended up having, like, top to bottom, super interesting prospects for a variety of reasons, and we're not going to have time to go through all of them here tonight, which I guess means we're going to have you on again within the next 3 years, which is really, really frustrating.
Oh, man.
I know, I'm pretty bummed about it. But I can't let you go without asking about Noah Gray, because I feel like, as much as with Kendo, perhaps, I am still waiting for someone. I'm taking as much information in as I can to try to have as informed opinion as I can, because I don't know what to think about Noah Gray fully at this point. I feel like I could see a future in which the Chiefs use him in a way that other teams start trying to find their version of him to use in their offense, and then fail again. And I think there's a version of reality where this guy without a position, breaking stunningly, doesn't really end up having a position in the NFL. So I'll take literally whatever you've got on Noah Gray. Push me in one direction or another, and I'll float there.
Okay, I'm going to float you to excited here. You ready?
Yes, I'm so ready. I was really hoping that's what you were going to do.
Use him like Kyle Juszczyk.
Ooh.
Use him in the backfield. Use him as an H-back. Have him get ahead of steam to block, because you don't necessarily want him lining up like a traditional tight end, because the will is there, but, the mass at this point in his career, he can certainly put on more. At this point in his career, he just doesn't have that same bulk to be able to drive defensive ends off the line of scrimmage from an inline position. But if you put him as an H-back or as an F, or, line him up as a fullback, which the Chiefs talked about in their post-draft presser, the fact that he can do all of that. Now, all of a sudden, these leak concepts, these screens, these things that we see succeed with Travis Kelce, and teams key off of Travis Kelce so much. Now you got another guy that's excellent at doing them, and that's an excellent run blocker on the move, and that is able to make things happen in Andy Reid's screen game. Another super smart player, another athletic guy in the open field. He makes so much sense in a misdirection-based run game off of play action. It is crazy. All of these times that you see Kyle Juszczyk wide open in the middle of the field for the San Francisco 49ers offense, because teams are crashing on play action. They're focused on other receivers. We know that teams are going to be focused on Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, ultra focused on them, or having to blitz to try and pick up, try and force the clock for the quarterback. Now you've got this other guy that can win an open space, that can win blocking. There's lots of ways that you can use him in that role. He may only play 35 or 40% of the snaps. But man, those 35 or 40% of the snaps are going to be ultra productive. So I'm really excited about him in this offense. I don't think that it's a like-for-like Kelce replacement. I think you're going to see a lot more stuff with him on the move, him in the backfield. Just two of them together is going to be very dangerous.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you maybe the hardest question then. We're really getting into it. Which of these picks are you the least excited about? Because I feel like you've probably got something across the board. But where do you go? Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not sure I see this one.
Oh, man, that's a really tough one because overall, on the whole, I probably like this class. I'm probably lower on Nick Bolton, and it is entirely about positional value. It's got nothing to do with the player. Like I said, I like the linebacker. Getting a guy that isn't a great coverage linebacker in this group, I get why, but I also wish that there would be a little bit more of a coverage player. I guess if I had to take another swing on somebody, it might be Creed Humphrey, even though I think he's going to start at center for the team day one and probably play for 4 years on his rookie deal and start for all 4 years. I think we just saw him a little bit at times on the tape, and certainly in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl, kind of get walked back a little bit, kind of struggle with power a little bit. So I just have some questions about him. I'm not low on him at all, but I have some questions about him, particularly when we've seen guys in Patrick Mahomes' lap over the past 3 years. Obviously, if you're spinning that kind of pick, you want it to be anchored, you want it to be good. He certainly could do that day one, though. So I really am pretty happy with these picks. So it's hard to really nitpick them, so I'm nitpicking the first two picks of the draft, and it's solely because of little minor things that aren't really necessarily that much about the players themselves.
If Rudy gets on it, I think by the next segment we could have you saying that you hate Creed Humphrey as a person and that the Chiefs reach on Nick Bolton by like 3 rounds.
I got it.
I think Nick Bolton, and I hate him because he's a Missouri Tiger. I don't like that. I don't like you having that in your Rolodex, Rudy. I feel silly that we've gotten here. We'll go real quick lightning round. Everybody likes Trey Smith, especially at 226. Yes.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Easy.
Ultra high upside. Easy. Yes.
Tell me about Cornell Powell. What you think he could do year 1? What you think he could do year 2 or 3?
Physical, X-type receiver, does all the little things well, excellent run blocker, excellent route runner, doesn't have top-end athleticism, but great hands. He is, a Jason Avant type Andy Reid X-receiver, perfect complement to Tyreek Hill.
Jason Avant is a fun pro comp. I like that a lot, actually. Have you ever thought about doing this professionally?
No. Do you know a guy? Somebody that can hook me up with something? Okay,
I know of a new network that people can check out, kcsportsnetwork.com. You can follow at KC Sports Network on Twitter as well. It's Craig. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to say the name of one of the other people that you said earlier because he has not fully been resurrected to this show yet, but we'll see if that changes soon. But an incredible crew there with guys like BJ Kissel and Matt Derrick. Literally a list too long to get through before Rudy makes me take a break. Craig, I am so very happy to have you back in our radio lives, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon. Are you free tomorrow?
I'm free tomorrow and 3 years from now.
All right, well, we'll pick a spot somewhere between those two signposts, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for having me.
Craig Stout at Barley Hop on Twitter. I just feel like I'm glowing. I'm just so glad to have him back. And this segment, I think, ultimately posterity will remember much better than the last one.
Did you know you can listen to Almost Entirely Sports anywhere, anytime? Well, you can. Just search for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Kansas City, this is Nate Bucati, announcer for Sporting KC. I'm teaming up with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City to recognize administrators, teachers, and students who make our community a better place to live, work, and play. Each Blue KC Sporting Samaritan will be recognized at a Sporting KC home match, receive tickets to the match, Sporting KC merchandise, and more. To learn more about the program and nominate your Blue KC Sporting Samaritan, just go to sportingkc.com/BlueKC.
Championship Barbecue is now available at your fingertips with the new Joe's Kansas City Barbecue online ordering app. Place your order for the legendary Z-Man or Rocket Pig sandwiches, slabs of ribs, or a burn-end dinner right now. It's just a few clicks from your smartphone, and your order will be hot and ready for curbside pickup. The new Joe's Kansas City Barbecue app is perfect for a weeknight dinner with a family or feeding your entire office. So don't wait. Download the brand new Joe's Kansas City Barbecue app today.
After such an extraordinary year, it's time to celebrate the most extraordinary member of the family. Mom. Diamonds Direct invites you to join us as we say cheers to the mothers in our lives. For this Mother's Day, we've put together an exceptional collection of affordable and meaningful gifts for any budget. Birthstone rings, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. So cheers to you, Mom, for being such an incredible partner, for learning to be a teacher in the past year, for keeping the family healthy and safe, for always putting everything else first. This year, more than ever, she deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Diamonds Direct, that's our specialty. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come. Why not surprise her with a bigger diamond for her ring? Come let the experts at Diamonds Direct help you find that remarkable gift that says, cheers, Mom, for all your remarkable efforts over the last year. Diamonds Direct at 119th and Row.
Kansas City's nicest upscale golf course, the Golf Club at Creekmore, is offering a preview 3-month trial membership. Come see why Golf Digest ranks it as one of the best courses you can play in the state in 2020. And Creekmore has a great new twilight rate for golf after 5 p.m. It's only $25 per person, including cart for as much golf as you can play. Host of several prestigious events annually, such as the U.S. Open Qualifier. Play more at Creekmore by calling 816-331-2621. Your only short drive of the day will be getting there.
There's never been a better time to upgrade to a premium Carrier home comfort system. For a limited time, you can claim up to $1,650 in cool cash rebates on a qualified Carrier home comfort system. Carrier, turn to the experts. Need a new AC and furnace system? Upgrade to premium home comfort and energy savings. Call Kate's Heating and Cooling to schedule an estimate today or go online at katesheatingandcooling.com to learn more. Kate's, for the homeowner who cares.
Most jewelers will charge you for their warranty. At Shane Company, our warranty is free for a lifetime and even covers the center stone. We're able to offer this because we take extra steps to ensure your jewelry will last a lifetime. We put more gold into the structure of the ring so it will stand the test of time. Our prongs are stronger to securely hold the center stone without compromising elegance or beauty. Look at our jewelry up close. You'll notice structural components that other jewelers don't bother with. Hold it in your hands and you can feel the difference. Visit Shane Company today. When you walk out the door with a stunning engagement ring or a lovely gift tied with a burgundy bow, we'll always be here to protect your jewelry for life. No matter what, we've got your back. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Building a pool is not a job for amateurs. If you want a pool you'll enjoy for a lifetime, call the pros at Pro Built Pool and Patio. Pro Built Pool and Patio is the largest provider of fiberglass pools in the region. Unlike liners, fiberglass pools from Imagine Pools and Pentair Pool Equipment are built to last, and they have over 200 different design options to fit your space. Pro Built Pool and Patio offers competitive pricing, financing, and the fastest install timelines. Get a free quote by calling 816-786-3893 or go to ProBuiltPatio.com.
Don't be that guy this summer. You know, the guy with the T-shirt on in the pool. You could still be slimmer for this summer since it only takes 40 days to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds with NJ Diet. NJ Diet's contractually guaranteed program starts with bioenergetically personalized supplements based on your hair, saliva, and blood work. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet plan and workout regimen to help you keep it off for the rest of your life. Not sure if you can do it alone? NJ Diet is with you every step of the way. You're fully monitored by their certified staff to make sure you're burning fat and not just losing water. You'll also get the doctor's personal email and phone number. It's all natural. No shots, no hormones, and no surgery. With offices close by in Overland Park or available from home with live online video consultations. Visit njdiet.com or call 855-5NJ-DIET. Go to njdiet.com and lose the weight for good. That's njdiet.com.
Monarchs Fan Fest at Union Station is your first chance to meet the new Monarch baseball team. And the first 500 guests will receive a team autograph pennant. Monarch Fan Fest will have COVID protocols in place and fun for all ages, including inflatables for the kids, craft tables, yard games, and running the bases. Manager Joe Calfapietra, Negro Leagues Baseball Museum Board Chair Kevin Battle, and Royals Hall of Famer, Jackson County Commissioner, and Monarchs first base coach Frank White will all be there this Saturday from noon to 3 at Union Station.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
If this show was decent all the time, it'd be a better show.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Thanks again to Craig Stout. So glad to have him back around. Also, by the way, I missed this earlier, and then I wanted to come back and mention it, and I may have maybe to their Twitch username, maybe they're still here. Still here, XD on Twitch, subscribed to the Sports Radio 810 Twitch channel, which I very much appreciate. And then also got this comment from them that I enjoyed. This is my time filler while stationed in Korea. Sports talk or random topics. I love this show. Thank you. Still here, XD, for listening from Korea. That's pretty cool. I think this was established at one point back in the ESPN Kansas City days, but AES, an international success. And
almost entirely
international. Global.
I was trying to think of
Korean,
essentially an international
Korean.
word for S, you know, but like what's an S word?
Almost entirely socially, politically aware. There's a lot of hyphens on that one, but
it works though.
I tried to get here, so that's great. Love that. I'm seeing if there's anything else that popped up on the Twitch. I do think that, even though I have a personal vendetta against Nick Bolton, and I think he should be deported and not allowed to play American football, I guess, just based on, I gotta say this. And listen, there are some people within, earshot right now from our various platforms that are Mizzou people that I think are giving me an extra portion of dookie along with my Nick Bolton conversations. And if it's all in good fun, it's all in good fun. But there are some people who are genuinely so mad at me for things I absolutely haven't said. And it's just, could we all please take a breath? Anyway, we can't take a breath. It's not going to happen. But I think Craig's angle on it, even as he's saying, the positional value there is still a bit of a bummer, is still sort of maybe the least exciting of the picks. I do think that the future vision of having him and Willie Gay playing next to each other, where maybe he can get into that will roll and base packages a little bit this year, and also maybe he's getting out there in the nickel packages on some level. Right now, if they can all share a little bit of space in the base, but you get a Hitchens-Gay sub package, and then you hope that the nickel package, or the dime package, eventually ends up featuring Willie Gay over Ben Neiman, you do find yourself having just like a wealth of talent at the position right now. Is that a talent you need, a position you need all that talent at for that premium? Maybe, maybe not. I think that creates a pretty interesting future. And also, I do think it's good to keep in mind, this is something I'm sure I'll repeat many times over going forward. If you're going to have a position to overspend at, specifically for a Spags defense, you want to have a guy that thinks and plays sort of like Anthony Hitchens, because being able to have everything under one guy's umbrella with the green dot in the back of his helmet, if that is something that is especially valuable to Spags, it's something you may eventually need to overspend on, and his trade-off there is going to be, hey, let's invest in safety, and we're going to get more out of it than other teams would. We're not going to have to invest in corner the same way because we've got this handled. Maybe the edge rusher position, you give us some guys, you give us some athletic freaks that we can mold a little bit. We're going to get you value there as well. The place that we're going to ask you to pay a little more than, if you're talking to Veach or Reed or Clark Hunt, is at that Mike linebacker spot of a guy who can really sort of cement the middle of the defense and also the defense around him in his orbit in some way. That's a trade-off I'm willing to sign up for. I think it's fine. It's also still like I wanted De'Ami Brown at 53 or 58 or 58. I wanted De'Ami Brown at 15, all right? Or Terrace Marshall Jr. That's what I wanted. I'm not going to apologize for that. But I am sorry.
Don't apologize.
I won't. I unapologize.
I was not mad when the Chiefs drafted Nick Bolton. I was a little bummed because again, there were receivers there, and I viewed receiver as a more pressing need for now, and honestly, even some for the future. Because as we know, like Andy Reid's shown this throughout his entire career of not just drafting, and obviously like Brett Veach, GM, I do believe Andy Reid has like kind of like. Andy Reid is the ultimate power in the Chiefs organization, but I think Andy Reid's even learned from his time when he was running all the Eagles things that I do not want to do all this.
100%.
I do believe he trusts Brett Veach and lets Brett Veach do the stuff and he trusts. But I believe Brett Veach has some of the same philosophies Andy Reid does, because it would make sense because he came up under Andy Reid.
Yep.
And Andy Reid's philosophy in Philadelphia was not just drafting for now, it was drafting for the future. And I wish off the top of my head I could remember. I just remember it was Sheldon Brown, there was another corner, and they drafted 2 corners like in the 2nd and 3rd round, and they had Troy Vincent, and everybody was asking, well, why? Well, why would you draft corners early when you have 2 all-pro corners? It was like, well, because in 2 years from now, these guys are not going to really be here.
Right.
Troy Vincent was still there, but he was now playing free safety because he could no longer play corner, and Sheldon Brown, and I wish I could remember the other corner, were starting for him.
I'm not going to bail you out on that one. I want you to know. It's just not loading.
It's not. Yeah, and
I think we've had this conversation recently, and it's still not loading.
And I always remember Sheldon Brown.
Retention.
I never remembered the other guy. And the other guy was pretty good, but this is part of Andy Reid's philosophy. And again, like, it makes sense. Like, this is to a degree. Not to a degree. This is a Spags pick, to some extent, obviously. But it also makes sense that Spags will, again, have this philosophy would be throughout the organization. And it makes sense. And it's like but it's still like a little disappointing to me that they didn't go after receiver. But, we've seen there are plenty of things where before Spags got here where and I think you as well, where I would have disagreed in terms of value of positions. And so far, he's proven me wrong every step of the way for the most part, right?
Every step. Let me think about every step.
Maybe not proving wrong is necessarily the right word, because I still think corner is more, it's still highly valuable, but he's shown that you can make it work, right? Like he's shown, at least in his system, maybe in every other system, corner is it probably is way more valuable. But at the very least in his system, it's not right. Like, you can work with lesser talent, and get more out of it. Like, he has shown me time after time after time that this way works to some degree.
Yeah, no, 100%. I especially the corner thing is the one where I still
want Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, well, not right now.
That type of corner,
but yes.
Right? Yeah.
It's the thing that I still wonder about in 2 different ways, specifically corner. I wonder about it in terms of, is the success they've had with this strategy sustainable? And also I wonder, is that actually, is that ever going to break? Not in terms of even performance, but in terms of their choices. Is there going to be a circumstance when they say, you know what? Here's a chance where a chance we'll have to invest in a corner that we really, really like at a reasonable cost. What will they do? I really don't know. I don't know if they're going to say forever, we're just going to take dudes on rookie deals. Whenever Ward hits free agency next offseason, we're not going to pay him. Bashaud Breeland, maybe he's finally, I don't know this to be true, maybe he's finally really putting his foot down and saying, I'm not signing with anybody for less than a 2 or a 3 year deal. Maybe the Chiefs are saying, all right, cool, it's just not going to be with us. I don't know if that is a hard and fast rule, or if that's a place where you say, hey, what can I get by without right now? If you've ever budgeted anything, you know what that's like. You say, well, listen, I need gas in my car to get to work so I can get money to pay for gas in my car. So maybe this week maybe I'll cancel my Netflix subscription, or maybe maybe I'm going to work with the food I've already got in the pantry, or I'm not going to hit up a drive-through at any point, We've all, I think, have all had some version of that, right?
Yeah, we have all, or at least the people who are listening who are, I would say, our age or younger, have recently, older people have at some point in their life, but recently have had to starve because it was financially what we had to do.
So I don't know if the Chiefs are in a spot for a position like corner where they say, well, I would still like to go through a drive-through for lunch every day, but that's not in the budget right now. Or if they say, no, I really like ramen. I will just eat ramen forever, and I'll spend that money on something else whenever I have a chance to. I really don't know. But I also think this draft is interesting for exactly that reason, because it's a reinvestment in the linebacker position. It's a reinvestment in another experimental edge for Spags. And also, I called an audible partway through there because this is something we'll just talk to Craig about in the many, 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 many weeks of offseason we'll have coming up that'll even feel longer than it actually is. I'm curious how he feels about the edge position as a whole right now for the Chiefs, because Frank Clark is still... I think he's going to be the biggest question going into this season. We haven't spent all that much time talking about him over the course of the offseason because we've been talking about the draft and new players and exiting players and all of that. But I think he's probably the guy right now that has the highest variance among veterans on this team that could make the biggest or most outsized impact or be underwhelming and cost a lot while being underwhelming still. But even behind him, the depth there is fascinating. So there'll be a lot of good questions to keep asking for the future. We'll ask none of those when we talk to David Lesky about the Royals next.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey guys, it's Todd Lebo here for CertaPro Painters. They've done a great job at my house always, whether they're painting outside like they did a few years ago or inside. It's always top notch from start to finish. CertaPro Painters are the best. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so that's a plus. You can start your process right now by logging on to CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Spring is here, so it's definitely time to get on their exterior painting schedule after the rough winter we just had. Schedule your free estimate right now online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Hey folks, this is Nate Bucati from my friend Gary Joslin and Joslin's Jewelry. Look, in this day and age, most jewelry stores won't give you the service or knowledge that you need. If you want to work with real Kansas Cityans and get a great diamond at a great price, trust me, go to Joslin's. They're all about making friends and having long-term relationships. That's why they do such a great business with their in-house repairs. If you take your ring into one of those big box jewelry stores because it needs a repair, be prepared to pay all kinds of markups and fees that you don't need. That's not what they do at Joslin's. At Joslin's, you get an honest quote, a fair price, and the repairs that you need. And they've got a great selection of diamonds. So give them a call today at 913-341-2021, or you can look them up online at joslinsjewelry.com. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
Hello, everybody. Jack Harry here for Shoal Creek Golf Club. It has been my favorite course in the Kansas City area for years and years. Shoal Creek in the Northland is rated #1 in Missouri by Golf Advisor and is open to the public and always has excellent course conditions and a beautiful 11,000 square foot clubhouse. It's perfect for weddings, banquets, and corporate events, so come on out to the Northland and check out Shoal Creek. You'll love it. 816-407-7242 or online at shoalcreekgolf.com.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
It's a Mother's Day special as Sporting Kansas City welcome expansion side Austin FC to town at 6:30 on Sunday night, and you can hear all of the action live right here on your home for SKC Soccer, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by Michelob Ultra. Enjoy a Michelob Ultra today. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Sporting KC versus Austin FC, Sunday at 6:30 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
The Salty Iguana Mexican Restaurants let you do something nice for Mom on Mother's Day and do something nice for yourself at the same time. Take Mom to dinner at the Salty Iguana on Mother's Day for the best Mexican food and margaritas in town. You know how Mom likes her margaritas. She also gets a $10 Salty Iguana gift card to use on her next visit. All moms who eat at the Salty Iguana on Mother's Day get a $10 gift card. She'll be so excited that, of course, she'll take you, her favorite, with her on that next visit. You are so thoughtful. That's the Salty Iguana Mexican Restaurants. Happy Mother's Day from the Salty Iguana.
Hey everybody, it's Mr. Truck KC Grunny. People are always asking me my advice about my two favorite things, football and trucks. With the football draft being over, they're asking, hey, what's your prediction for the championship? That's simple. I believe that Kansas City's going all the way. But that's something we can't control. What you can control is where you buy your next truck. My advice, like always, is to go to Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Excelsior Springs. The reason is simple. I just learned from the sales manager that they're giving thousands above normal for used vehicles. Can you imagine getting $2,000 or $3,000 more than you expected? I'm talking cash with no obligations to buy a new vehicle. So hurry up and get down to Roberts Robinson in Excelsior Springs to get more money for your trade-in. Go online to robertsrobinson.com or check out our Roberts Robinson Facebook page. And don't forget to tell them that the Hall of Fame guy, Grunny, sent you.
Buying or selling your home is a big decision, maybe the largest transaction of your life. So make sure you have a real estate expert on your side. Shannon Brimacombe and Stacy Cohen with Reese Nichols. Brimacombe and Cohen rank among the top 1% of all agents in the city, with over 100 million in transactions in the past 2 years. Dedication and decades in the business. Contact Stacy Cohen at 816-729-7214 and find out why Brimacombe and Cohen are moving people and moving houses.
Hi, this is Jim announcing that May is barbecue month at Smoke and Fire. Weber is barbecue. Smoke and Fire has the region's largest selection of Weber charcoal, gas grills, and smokers. Charcoal grills starting at $37.99. Gas grills as low as $75. Don't forget to treat yourself to a new tool set and grill brush. Think family, think friends, think Smoke and Fire.
Sports Talk powered by fans. Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City, the power of sports.
I'm Chad Ryder on the NBA scoreboard. 16 seconds to go in the fourth quarter in Dallas, and the Mavericks lead the Nets 112-104 despite 42 points from Kyrie Irving. Luka Doncic, 24 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Brooklyn, danger of losing their fourth straight. Looks like it's going to be that way. Going down to the wire in Tampa. That's the Raptors' home court this season. 17 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Wizards, a furious second half for them. 111-110 lead on Toronto. Like I said, late in the fourth quarter, Russell Westbrook, another triple-double with 15 rebounds, 15 assists. Pascal Siakam has 33 for the Raptors. 6 minutes to go, fourth quarter in Indiana. Pacers lead the Hawks 116-111. One final. Bulls snap a 4-game slide, hammering the Hornets in Charlotte 120-99. Nikola Vucevic with 29 points and 14 rebounds. Big news out of baseball with the Angels letting go future Hall of Famer Albert Pujols, designated for assignment, sitting 198 with LA this season. On the scoreboard, Braves complete a 3-game sweep of the Nationals, 3-2. Atlanta takes it today in D.C. After a rough start to the season, Cleveland's starting to roll.
The pitch, Reyes swings, drives one high, deep to left, gone! Over the bullpen! And the Indians lead it 4-0. Reyes with his 8th home run. A towering blast down the left field line.
Franmil Reyes going deep on WTAM. Cleveland.
Hey, it's Greeny already looking ahead to Monday with the very latest on the Aaron Rodgers saga, and it's the final week of the NBA regular season. We'll get you ready for the playoffs. It's me, Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
I got a woman to give me $50 because I told her I was Mike Sweeney, and she believed me.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
We haven't yet gotten robot umps, nor have we gotten robot guests, so we'll keep taking the ones that keep picking up the phone. David Lesky on the show with us now. You can follow him on Twitter at DBLesky and go read his newsletter on Substack, InsideTheCrown.substack.com. We'll get you straight there, plus the link in his bio on Twitter.
I get so excited. Like, I genuinely read. I've read every Substack so far. I get very excited when I see that in my email. I'm like, you know what? I'm excited to, like, sit down and read this.
That's also great because, Lesky, I don't know if you know this, Rudy has read all of your Inside the Crown newsletters. I haven't read any of them, so we balance out perfectly.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I actually, you've had a guest on before who told me that he read everything, and then literally like 4 days ago I seen an email come in that was his email that he just subscribed. So I was like, wait a minute, hang on. You just subscribed, but you read it every day. Interesting. I'm not going to name names.
Drop the name, Lesky!
Is it me?
No.
Thank God.
I'm just going to say his initials are it's the suffix for a doctor. His initials, an MD.
Wow, Matt Derek's a fraud. Matt
Yep,
Derek's a
that's the
fraud.
one.
Wow, Matt Derek's a fraud. Who would have seen that coming? At least Rudy, you at least have an easy podcast title for this hour, which is David Lesky calls Matt Derek a fraud. That ought to be pretty good for our numbers. Got to get those
I'm
clicks.
just saying. I saw it come through, and I was like, yeah. You know what, Matt? Next time we play poker, I'm not going easy on you anymore.
Well, clearly his poker.
Calling out that bluff.
Clearly his poker. Well, that's a good point. Clearly his poker face, at least on radio, was pretty good there because he just lied straight to your ears. And
I was not able to read his bluff through Twitter. That is accurate.
Wow.
Maybe it was a text. I can't remember. Either way.
You can also, listen, I think you should subscribe so it goes to your email every day, but you can if you'd like to just peruse it right now. You go to InsideTheCrown.substack.com. Maybe Matt just has that as his homepage and just reads them all from within the site.
Be.
That's a
It
good
could be.
point.
But I will say, too, it's 50% off right now. So it's half of free.
That's incredible. Can I get a refund for the half of free that I paid as an entry level subscriber?
No, this is a new subscriber only.
Okay, I'm gonna unsubscribe and resubscribe, and I'm gonna get half off of free.
That's fair.
You can go to InsideTheCrown.substack.com to subscribe, or bit.ly. Hold on, I'm pretty sure it's Lesky Hates Bobby Witt. Yep, there it is. Still works. bit.ly/Lesky Hates Bobby Witt, or InsideTheCrown.substack.com.
Is it Bobby Witt or Bobby Witt Jr.? Because I don't know his dad at all. So this is unfair if you say I hate his dad.
I mean, you might. I don't know that you don't.
That's fair. Okay.
Bobby Witt Sr. Let's see here. So, I mean, he was in the 2001 World Series with the Diamondbacks. So he's got a ring? What?
Good for him.
Is that right? He
did play with the Diamondbacks. I forgot about that.
He played in the majors for 16 years.
I mean, he was number 3 overall pick. It's not like he was I don't know, a scud.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
He walked. A
lot of guys.
3 of his first 4 years in the big leagues, he led the majors in walks. He had 143 his first year in the big leagues.
Rudy, have you led the majors in anything in your life?
I haven't.
You know what I found out today? That Albert Pujols leads the major leagues in. Do you know the answer to this? You might.
This year?
No, all time.
All time.
All time. He's second in RBIs.
He is the all-time leading blank in hitting in the double plays.
Yeah.
Ding! We don't have a sound effect, but if we did, it would go ding just now. We were looking at this is a weird place that I just pretty frequently get sort of sucked down this particular rabbit hole. As someone who is oftentimes, feuding with the very essence of baseball, I occasionally fall back in love with the mid to late 2000s era of baseball. And Albert Pujols, obviously released today, DFA'd today by the Angels. He's 41 years old. Barry Bonds, in his age 42 season, which was his last season, had an OBP of 480.
I know.
Albert Pujols never had an OBP of 480.
Bonds was, it was incredible. And don't forget that last season was not by his choice.
Right.
He would have kept playing, but he got blackballed. So
that's the crazy thing is there is a world in which he played into at least his mid 40s pretty well. His OBP his last year was 4. Are you hearing me? He got on base half the times he was at the plate at age 42.
I remember, what year was that? Was that 07?
07. Yeah, he was also an all-star that year, by the way.
I remember, when he wasn't signed into spring training, you started to hear, I'm sure it was every city, of, well, maybe the Royals should sign Barry Bonds.
We talked about this. Me and Josh talked about this in a break because I was like, I think I remember there being rumors, because I was probably, I was in high school at the time. I remember thinking to myself, I think there were rumors about the Royals and Barry Bonds maybe.
I don't know if it was, rumors. I remember something about that, but looking back, I kind of wonder, was it just a lot of people asking if they should sign him, and then that became a rumor? I don't know. But I remember them it being talked about regularly, because I feel like when they signed Gil Mesh, Greinke had come back, and I think that they were kind of like, well, we got 2 good pitchers, so why not sign Barry Bonds? Which I don't think it would have worked. But hey,
it would have been so cool. Oh, I would have loved it.
A lot of guys finish their career with the Royals. Like Harmon Killebrew finished his career with the Royals. Why not Barry Bonds? Come on. They should sign him now.
I was literally just thinking, what do you think Barry Bonds could give to a major league team right now? You give him a little time to get into prime Barry Bonds shape. You find the right, needles for his butt.
He's obviously not
if
succeeding.
If they're going to sign Escobar, they can sign Barry Bonds.
This is a great point.
Yeah, he's obviously not succeeding as his prime, but he's giving you at least a 410 on base percentage.
Yeah, an absolute scrub.
At least.
Absolute scrub. Also, he on average per season grounded into 9 double plays. Like he has.
Yeah, 'cause he never hit the ball on the ground.
It's unbelievable, man.
Oh, it's like Salvador Perez was hitting a ton of double plays up until last season. He's hit 2 or 3 since last year because he stopped hitting the ball on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty simple. You don't ground into double plays if you don't ground into anything. So that's the philosophy, and it's working for him.
I'm trying to pull up the intentional walk record again. Here it is. Albert Pujols is
like
second place.
114 or something in that 1 year for Bonds.
Let's see. Season high 120. That was in 2004. He was 39. He was 9 years old. When Albert Pujols was 39, he hit 244. That could have been worse, actually. But still, are you kidding me?
But that wasn't even the year he got intentionally walked with the bases loaded multiple times.
It's unbelievable, dude.
I know.
All time. Welcome to the Barry Bonds Hour with David Lesky. You can go to.
I miss him.
You can go to barrybonds.substack.com. So I'm just gonna give you I'll give you 4 to 1 here because the fourth name is worth mentioning. Intentional walks. Okay. Fourth place, Hank Aaron had 293. Third place, Stan Musial had 298. Second place, Albert Pujols has 313. First place, Barry Bonds has 688.
Crazy.
He's got 2 and 3 combined by a lot.
That guy was good.
He was good at baseball. Do we talk about that enough?
I want to be the first to say Barry Bonds was a good baseball player.
It's incredibly brave of you.
Yeah.
I'm
throwing it out there.
I almost just got sucked into a conversation I really have actually no interest in having. But I almost just sort of spat out he needs to be in the Hall of Fame, which is true for me. But I don't really want to have that radio segment. But how is he not? I don't know. Do you have an opinion? You love baseball on a level that I could see you having some confliction there, but I really don't know.
No, I don't have any confliction. Look, the Hall of Fame. We can leave it at this, but let me just say it. The Hall of Fame is about what happened on the field. Mm-hmm. If he shouldn't have been allowed to play or whatever, then they should have taken him off the field at the time and not allowed him to put up those stats. He did it. He should be in there.
Here's my new question. I'm going to have to mix sports a little bit, but to your knowledge, Lesky, did Barry Bonds ever murder 2 people?
I do not believe he Ray Lewis'd it, no.
Well, I was going to say OJ, but I mean...
Oh, OJ,
There's a lot of examples. Aaron Hernandez.
There are. Well, Aaron Hernandez isn't in the Hall of Fame,
Fair.
Rudy. OJ is a Hall of Famer, and rightfully so.
Ray Lewis only murdered 1 person.
That's a great point. We got to get that fact.
You're right. I apologize, Ray Lewis.
You know what? I would say just watch your back, or else maybe he's going to try to tie OJ. I don't know, man. I don't want that heat for you.
Look, if I don't answer the phone next week, you know where I am.
Under Ray Lewis's house? I don't know. I don't know where you are. Is that what you mean?
Well, you know where I'm not, and it's at my house, apparently.
All of this to avoid talking about the Royals. It's just how bad the last 5 games went.
Let's talk about anything else.
Sure, let's talk about Angel Hernandez.
What'd you have for lunch today?
Angel Hernandez is what I had for lunch.
Okay.
I have obviously now, my whole brand at this point is, let's digitize everything. If I can get a self-driving car, I'll take it. If I can get microchips, if my COVID vaccine didn't have enough microchips in it, I'll take extras that you've got so I can shoot lasers out of my fingers, or I can type without a phone in my hand, whatever. I'm here for all of it. Make me a cyborg. But obviously, robo-ump's clearly a big topic right now, so I'd like to run at least my new acronym past you to try to get some more public support for it.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm going to call them Automated Necessary Gaffe Evaluation Litigators. And the tagline here now is an angel behind every plate. I feel like there's no drawback to this.
Well, I mean, the only drawback, of course, is that people will maybe mistake it and think that Angel Hernandez is behind the plate, but again,
yeah, that hadn't crossed my mind. That's really
his knowledge,
Lesky.
Yeah.
But to his knowledge,
it's a good note.
He believes that people buy tickets to see him. So I think that, you know, in his mind, he's like, yes, this is the way to solve the declining attendance in baseball.
Yeah.
Just put me in every game. And I think, look, robots can be really lifelike now. I think we need to design them all to look just like Angel Hernandez.
Can I get
so good. Such a good idea.
Can half of them look like Joe West?
Well, yeah, but then we got CB Buckner too. I mean, there's a few guys. So we need a whole crew, right? You need 4 guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they can all we who's the Phil Cousy maybe I think could be number 4. There's some options, but you're right. Those two for sure. Joe West and Angel Hernandez are 2 definite prototypes. And then there's a handful of others we can talk about for the other 2.
Just looking at Joe West just makes me happy. Joe West looks like a Mr. Potato Head came to life.
Did you know he's a country singer?
Yes,
yeah.
I did.
He's Country Joe.
I wish you wouldn't have turned my my excellent Mr. Potato Head joke into mashed potatoes quite so quickly there, Rudy. You could have given me a second. You at least scallop them.
At least let you get the joke out.
Potato Head, by the way.
That was all. This was all
great
bleeped
point.
up. This is all. It's not a great point. This was all a media mishandling. You can't trust the media. Anyway, I knew I had the joke in my head. I knew there was a chance that was going to come around. I should have known that Rudy was going to try to cut off the end of the joke, and it's just, you know, this is the life that I lead. Have you ever seen Mike Matheny get that mad?
Not as a Royal. He, you know, it's funny because I think at first he was like, "Look, you're really bad at your job, sir," and I for one do not enjoy this. And then he went back to the dugout, and then Cal Eldred was like, "Hey, yeah, you're really, really bad at your job," and that was the end of it for Angel Hernandez. And then Mike Matheny was like, "You know what? You're even worse than I said before. So bully to you." And then they were both gone, and then a couple batters later, Brady Singer. I think he thought that they were like jousting on American Gladiators or something, and that was awesome. I don't know that I've definitely never seen Cal Eldred explode like that.
Yeah, right.
I really want to know what he thought Angel Hernandez missed twice, because if you watch the video, he's got 2 fingers and he just flashed them in his face like 4 times. And I don't know if it's more. It's got to be more than 2 bad ball and strike calls because he had at least 58 of those. Was it the Bach calls, like the Daniel Lynch one and Brady Singer? I just need to know what the 2 meant. What 2 was he referring to? And we'll never know.
Yeah, there's got to be a field mic somewhere, right? Especially like I know Kaufman's more full now. But there's got to be a mic somewhere. There's got to be a Bally Sports. No one will have any way of seeing it or hearing it ever, of course. But there's got to be a Bally Sports SD card somewhere that has that audio on it.
Somebody knows. I don't know who it is, but somebody has heard it. You're right.
You know what? Actually, I just realized they may be airing that in full on Bally Sports. Just no one has any way of watching it live, and we're never going to know for that reason. Instead,
you can tune into the app and. Oh, it buffered. It buffered right up until the point that it was over. Sorry,
Lesky. I am one of the few fortunate who is able to watch.
one of the blessed few.
Right now, maybe not, because my dad has DirecTV, and oh boy, when they switched over from the Fox Sports Go, which I was not, I didn't love to begin with, to the Bally Sports app like a week ago now. I was complaining to Josh within 30 seconds of this.
Yeah,
it is a tragedy of an app.
But sorry, Lesky, hold on. I'm sorry, Lesky. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Rudy, what was that word?
I said tragedy, but I think I want a travesty. Yeah.
It was either tragedy or travesty, but I just wanted to know if you thought that tragedy was a word. Sorry.
Can I?
Go ahead.
Hang on. First of all, I think tragedy is a great word. I think that needs to be in the dictionary. I like it.
I love it.
Second of all, I love with the app that they're like, hey, this is a new app, but we still got a little of the old stuff, and so they kept the corner of the Fox Sports Go app behind the logo. it's like, hey, we haven't put the sticker all the way on yet.
Yeah. I can't tell if that's really smart, so people don't immediately uninstall an app they don't recognize, or if it's really stupid because you're reminding everyone of how much better it was before you got in and bleeped it all up.
I think if it was a good app, it would be smart, but because it's not, it's stupid.
Yeah.
So does that work?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, really, because ultimately
that's right.
Yeah, ultimately it's all a tragedy for sure, but it's
huge tragedy. Major tragedy. One of the biggest tragedies of all time, I would say.
Top 10 tragedy. One thing that wasn't a tragedy was Danny Duffy again. I'm going to sprinkle in a little positive. He looked there were some messes, but he got out of them, generally speaking. If the offense would have been, I don't know, if they would have had a multi-base hit, then maybe this would have all felt a little bit different. But can you give me something on Danny Duffy and how you're feeling about how his season has gone so far? Because I'd like to at least be reminded of the good things in the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought Duffy looked good today.
Yeah.
I was out there, so I haven't really had a chance to see like the behind the mound shots and see where pitches were and all that yet. But it seemed like he made a couple pitches that the Indians hit well. That I don't think he was expecting that, which I don't think anybody was expecting that. Like the Ahmed Rosario triple, he mentioned it in his post-game press conference. He put it about where he wanted to put it. Rosario went out and got it, and somehow pulled it to left center. I really don't know how he did that, honestly. Like I said, I haven't seen it from the angle that might make it make sense yet, but it just that seemed like one of those things that he threw a good pitch and got beat, which will happen.
Yeah.
Because these are big leaguers. Right. I mean, and I think he pitched around the leadoff double in the first really well, obviously. And the second one, there's a bloop single. Like there are just some games that you're just not going to win. And the problem with that is that's why yesterday was so important. Tuesday was so important. Monday, because this game was one of those games they were never going to win. It's just as simple as that. But because they blew out, I was going to say a word that I shouldn't say, and then I went off the rails. With
you saved
word.
it. That's better.
I did.
If you would have said a word you shouldn't have said, it would have been a real tragedy.
It was huge.
Thank you.
Because they blew 3 games, really. I mean, you could argue that they should have won the first 3 games of the series. You want to say Monday, whatever, okay, that's fine, but they definitely should have won Tuesday and Wednesday. And they didn't, which means that when they played a game they were never going to win, it made it even worse. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And like Duffy, yeah, his ERA went up to 1.26 or something, but I think he pitched well. I just think it was one of those games that the Indians hit some good pitches. It happened. It like you said, it would have been nice if they scored some runs. Because they gave up. I mean, look, if you get three runs in 5 2/3, not a great start from a result standpoint, but it keeps you in the game, and they were in the game. I mean, even into the 9th inning, they had 2 on and nobody out.
Yep.
Down 4. You get to a point. I mean, you're 2 batters away from tying that game, which I think we all knew was never going to happen, but it was at least possible, And I just, it's frustrating. But Duffy, he looks good again. The fastball was popping. It was like 96 in the first inning. I saw a couple. He looked generally really sharp. I think the Royals, they've got some good breaks throughout the first part of the season where they've caught teams at bad times for the other team. The Blue Jays without George Springer, although he's out again, so maybe the Blue Jays just don't have George Springer. But getting the Tigers when they were maybe a little bit on the ropes after that Rays series. I mean, they took a wild and crazy comeback just to not get swept in that one, and then they had the luck of going to Detroit and getting to win 4 in a row. So I feel like there's some of that involved. And then they catch the Indians at maybe the worst time because the Indians, this is probably the best baseball they'll play all season.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they're that good of a team. I think that they are on a crazy hot streak. They're good enough that a crazy hot streak means they can beat just about anybody. And I think the Royals caught them at the absolute worst time for the Royals. and that's just the way it's gone. But, it's frustrating because I feel like you can make a really good argument that they would have won if Angel Hernandez was even remotely competent last night. and you can make a decent argument that they would have won on Tuesday night if he was competent. It's hard to say because the bullpen was probably going to blow it anyway. But I mean, that ball in right center field, like everything he did was wrong about that, and it cost the Royals one run at least.
Yeah,
probably just one. If they have 4 instead of 3, does that change the game? We don't know, but I mean, maybe. And I think you can make an argument that it does, and so that's also what's frustrating about it. The Indians are playing their best ball of the season, and the Royals were 2 umpire gaps away from maybe splitting the series. Now, again, they didn't perform, so I'm not saying that. Look, they even after the terrible 6th inning last night, they led 4-3 and they still lost. So, it's not all on that. But at the same time, probably should have been 4-1 at the end of that inning. And again, maybe things are different. Maybe Singer goes into the 7th and Barlow gets to pitch the 7th and 8th, and they don't give up the home run. And, all this stuff. So it's frustrating. The thing that I keep coming back to, and this is the positive spin, the Los Angeles Dodgers, I don't think anybody would argue that they are the World Series favorites, right? I mean, come on. I don't doesn't matter what the record is. But they were 13-2 in the first 15 games. They're 17-15 now. Like, they're 4-13 in their last 17 games. So if anybody ever tells you, well, bad teams don't go on stretches like this, because people make absolute statements like that are stupid.
Right.
Or good teams don't go on stretches like this.
Yeah.
The Dodgers are 4-13 in their last 17 games. If anybody thinks they're not a good team, they're lying. They've got injuries. The Royals do too. Like, teams go through bad stretches, and so that's the saving grace here. They will come out of it. They get the Tigers next week, so I mean, that's good timing. If they can steal a couple wins from the White Sox this weekend and then go to Detroit, all in a week, we're going to be talking about this team and be like, wow, they're back on track. They're really good.
Right.
I don't know, but it's just 5-game losing streaks are the pits, and it's coming off that series in Minnesota, which was kind of weird because there wasn't a single competitive game in the 3. And it's just been kind of a weird stretch and a rough stretch, and one of those things that they'll get it figured out. And look, they've got Kyle Zimmer coming back at some point theoretically. Jesse Hahn, who I know people hate, but he was so good last season. I mean, I don't think people realize how good he was last season. If he's healthy and can be like 80% of that with Zimmer back, all of a sudden the bullpen's back to a strength. It's just, I'm not ready to jump off a cliff just yet about this team, and they're still 16-14, right? They're 30 games in and they're over 500. I don't know. If you ask me on Sunday, they might not be over 500 anymore. Right. I mean, it's very possible that they don't win it this weekend either. But things could be worse, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
The funny thing with the game tomorrow is that it's Carlos Rodon versus Brad Keller, whose ERAs are separated by more than 7 points, and that's a tough draw. But with that being said, I think the Dodgers comparison is a very, very fun one because it gives a little bit of like a reason to take a breath, but also for me it begs the question of, we all collectively are pretty sure that the Dodgers are a good baseball team having a terrible stretch, and not that they're a bad baseball team that had a great hot start for some reason. And really, I think ultimately, again, we started the show today by me talking about the fact that baseball seasons are so bleeping long that you find out what they are by the end of the year. But right now with the Royals, I think you could probably build me an argument either way to say, hey, they're closer to what we saw in April, or they're closer to what we're seeing right now in May. Ultimately, you are the collection of all of those things, so I don't want to put you in a binary like that. But if you are leaning in one direction or another, or if you're just taking it all together, how has this stretch of these last 5 games or so, has it influenced what you think about the Royals in general?
I would say a little bit, only because I thought that, so they were going through their May hot stretch. They still weren't getting a ton of innings from the starters. And it was one of those things that you thought, oh, it's April, after a weird season. Pitchers don't go that deep in April typically, and maybe they're really trying to hold them back. And then at some point, they got to start going more innings, right? the bullpen can't handle it. That's maybe part of the reason the bullpen's been struggling a little bit is because they've had to handle so much stress. I had somebody, multiple people have mentioned to me multiple times, well, you got to pull the guy before they face the lineup a third time, no matter what. You can't do that because the bullpen, you will literally have to sew their arms back on by August. Like you need to have starters who can go 7 innings. It's just whether or not they should, they got to do it at some point. And I thought the starters would kind of start to stretch out a little bit more, but they just haven't. And so that's concerning to me. I don't think they're the 16 were they 16-7? No, they were 16-9 was their most recent high water mark.
Yep.
I don't think they're 16-9 good, but I also don't think they're 1-6 bad.
Right.
Or 1-6 of the most recent stretch. Mm-hmm. Like they're probably somewhere in between, which is kind of where they are, right? Yeah. That's where they've ended up over the first 30 games. I predicted 76 wins to start the season. I thought that I was going to be woefully under for a little while because I think they got probably when they were 16-9. If I were to look at the schedule and be able to wipe my memory, I probably would have looked at that and been like, "Oh, they're probably going to be 12-13 at this stretch." So that's 4 extra wins. But they've probably given a couple of those back now. So I think that this is probably about who they are. The good news for the Royals is like they've got guys coming, right? Adalberto Mondesi, if I could say his name, he's theoretically going to go on a rehab assignment maybe next week. I mean, that's when you do that, you're 10 days to 2 weeks away. So that's fairly close. There's this guy in the minors. I can't remember his name. His dad played in the majors too.
Yeah, and you hate his guts. Yeah, I can't remember his name either. Yeah,
I can't stand him.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be that long, honestly. I mean, we're not like tomorrow, but I told Seren a couple weeks ago. My prediction was whatever like the Friday night of a homestand around July 4th is. That's when I think he's coming up. That's 2 months away now. The minor league season has started. He got a hit last night. I think he got a hit today. I think he's coming. Jackson Coar had a great start to start his season. I think he has a chance to be a really good bullpen arm right away if they want to go with that. Daniel Lynch is up. I thought his stuff looked really good on Monday. Some command issues, but we'll see. It's going to be a tough test for him on Saturday against the White Sox. But they've got reinforcements, and they're aggressive right now. And I think John Sherman's aggressive. I think Dayton Moore's aggressive. If they need something, I kind of did a cursory glance around the league of potential sellers. There's not a lot out there, first of all. But what there is, I think the Royals will, if they're in a position to make a postseason run, I think what Dayton Moore has shown us in the past is they're going to try to make a postseason run. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the weaknesses are at least potentially becoming addressed slowly with guys getting healthy, and then that could happen. And look, we're 30 games in. Dayton Moore's magical 40-game mark is not far away.
Yeah.
It's like a week from Monday is their 40th game, I think. Maybe a week from Sunday. I can't remember. But either way, it's coming up. So, I think we'll start to see some moves. That's the encouraging thing. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to win 83 games or 89 games or 76 games or whatever, but I think where they are right now is probably about what they are. They got there in a weird way, but I think this is probably this is a team that you kind of felt like was going to go 2 games over and 2 games under all season long, just back and forth, and that's where they are.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. As far as Mondesi goes, I'm officially adopting the Kyle Shanahan perspective.
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sundays.
So that's where I'm at on him. I feel like we might see Bobby Witt Jr. before we see Mondesi in a major league roster.
We might. I'm not going to discount that. It's possible. It's very possible. But I don't know. And I mean, the nice thing about the minor leagues playing, A, when the Royals are losing, you have something else to focus on, which is a huge positive.
Very nice, yeah. Yeah.
But B, I'm looking at Omaha, and you can start to see how they're maybe feeling about some guys. I think it's really interesting. We've seen Isbell in center and Edward Olivares in right the last couple of days. Now, I think it was reversed on their opening day the other day, but that might be a sign of things to come. Michael A. Taylor hasn't exactly been lighting the world on fire with his bats. Ryan O'Hearn does not belong in the majors. So, there's a possibility that, hey, maybe Edward Olivares comes up to play some right field and Jorge Soler goes back to his natural position of DH. And that improves the team. So there are quite a few options. It's Dayton Moore. We're not going to see it for a week and a half, unfortunately. But unless they, if they get swept by the White Sox, I would not be surprised to see some moves after Sunday's game. I think they're off Monday. So that could be a time you might see some things happen. But yeah, the minor leagues are really nice because you get to actually kind of see their thought process in process.
Yeah.
A little bit,
Yeah.
which we haven't gotten to see since 2019. We haven't gotten to see a minor league game until Tuesday since September of 2019. And now we can see how would they feel about guys. Witt's playing third tonight. So is that in preparation? They said he'd play short and third, so probably not necessarily. But I'm not sure. Siri came on.
What does Siri think? Can we get Siri's thoughts on it?
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday.
Thank you, Siri.
Do you think I could get Siri to have Kyle Shanahan's voice? Is the question.
I think we're probably not that far away. If we can get Robo-Umps,
Can we call it Angel?
Yes, 100%. 100%. What were you going to say, Rudy?
I said there's a mod for it.
Absolutely. We can make that happen.
I just want Siri to respond with that every question I answer.
Hey, I'm trying not to set mine off here, so I'm going to stutter through it so my phone doesn't start talking to me. Hey, virtual assistant, could you set a reminder for tomorrow at 2 p.m.? I have no guarantee.
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday.
I should have said, can you set a reminder for Sunday? But,
Yeah,
I can't guarantee that any...
Real tragedy.
Thank you. Yep, excellent. The one name you mentioned that I wanted to circle back on because we haven't talked a whole lot about any Royals this week because of when the radio show is on, is I do want to know what you thought of Lynch's start and kind of what he showed there.
Yeah, I thought he was good and bad. I thought that there were clearly nerves, especially in the first inning.
Yeah.
A couple things stood out to me. I wrote about it on Tuesday, I think it was.
On Inside the Crown at insidethecrown.substack.com.
Yes, subscribe today for free.
For half off free.
He'll pay
half
you.
Off free. That's right. What I thought was interesting, I think he tried to get a fastball over in the first 2 innings to start the inning, and they both got crushed. And from that point forward, 3 innings, obviously, but he didn't do that again. So he learned pretty quickly. He touched the stove. It was hot. He touched it again. It was still hot, and he said, "You know what? I'm not touching that stove anymore." Yeah. Which is that shows some intelligence. The other big thing that obviously the slider was dirty. He got 6 swings and misses on it. You can see how it can be a plus pitch in the big leagues. But what I thought was really impressive was when he needed to make those pitches that he needed to make. More often than not, he made them. He put the ball exactly where he wanted it. And what I thought that showed. When you're in your big league debut, it's crazy. I can't even imagine the emotions of being on the mound, especially in front of. Well, that was the first game of the homestand, so it was the most fans that the Kauffman Stadium's seen in 2 years. I mean, it was a big start, and there's a lot there, and so he was amped up. But what I thought was interesting when he got into a situation where he just had to really focus on pitching and not. I'm making my big league debut. He looked like the pitching prospect we've seen in the minors and at spring training and all that. And I thought, I thought that really bodes well for future starts when he doesn't have those big league debut nerves at all. So maybe he can just pitch like that all the time because he had a runner on third and 1 out twice. And one time he scored. And it wasn't a hard hit ball. I can't remember now. And one time he ran him there. He pitched really, really well. He put the ball exactly where he needed to, pretty much every time. And he got an inning double play also, but Merrifield threw it away. So his outing would have looked even more different if that had happened. It's too bad he couldn't get through 5. The win is a stupid stat, but it's still a stat, and it's a cool thing for a guy to get his first big league win. But also it would have lessened the impact of the bullpen, which cost them the game ultimately. But I thought he didn't look great, but you can see why he will look great in the future, I guess, in that start. And I thought that was really it was encouraging. Now, the White Sox are a much better lineup, even without the departure of Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert, who I haven't seen him do a vigil for Luis Robert yet. Have you seen?
He's in critical condition.
Yeah, he's holding on right now, but it's not looking great.
But I mean, they've got some right-handed power, and Lynch, his changeup has gotten better. I think it's going to be an important pitch for him on Saturday. It's a test, so I'm very curious to see how he responds to that. If he pitches poorly, it doesn't mean he sucks. It just means the White Sox are good. But if he pitches well, I think it says a lot about him. So I'm super looking forward to that.
If you want to read more about it whenever it happens and leading up to it and all sorts of things, just listen. Just go to InsideTheCrown.substack.com. It's free, okay? It's free. You can go sign up there. Don't be a big liar fraud like Matt Derrick, as Lesky called out by name earlier and said that he's dead to him and, we'll never forgive him for that terrible lie. The loss of their friendship is, in fact, a tragedy, but sometimes tragedies happen. And this show, honestly, I think is the host of many of them in sort of a very macro sense. I'm gonna have an existential breakdown, Lesky. Thank you for being here to help facilitate that.
You are very welcome. Thanks, guys.
Follow Lesky on Twitter as well at DBLesky. If we don't take a commercial break right now, there's going to be a tragedy in the studio, so we'll do that right this second.
At JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
Looking for the best place to store and show off your car? Come check out the KC Underground. KC Underground is part of the Kansas City Automotive Museum and provides a safe place to store your vehicle with 24-hour monitoring. Call today to reserve a spot underground for your car. Use the promo code 810 and you'll receive a 10% discount. Go to theksunderground.com or call 913-322-4227. KC Underground, Kansas City's car collection.
Prime Lending's mortgage professionals are ready to assist you with your next home loan or refinance of your current residence. Prime Lending has 10 convenient locations to serve you. Visit whyprimelendingkc.com. That's WHY, primelendingkc.com, or call 816-600-4561. Prime Lending, ranked #1 mortgage lender in the Kansas City metro area. Market for market track January 2019 through October 2020. All loans subject to credit approval. Rates and fees subject to change. Prime Lending, a Plains Capital Company, NMLS 13649, is an equal housing lender.
Come by Creekmore, one of the nicest upscale golf courses in Kansas City with a beautiful clubhouse. Come by for lunch or dinner at the Tavern on the Moor restaurant and bar, open to the public each day of the week and breakfast on the weekend. The patio is also available to host just about any events. For more information or to schedule your next event, give the general manager Rick Scott a call at 816-331-2621 or visit them at creekmorepoa.com. The Golf Club at Creekmore, your only short drive of the day will be getting there.
It's graduation time. That means getting together with your friends for celebrations. The best place to take care of your graduation parties is Johnny's Barbecue. Johnny's Barbecue has been serving fine barbecue in Kansas City since 1977. That's nearly 40 years, and there's a reason for that. All the food is prepared fresh, made from scratch, and it's the best mouth-watering barbecue around. Johnny's Barbecue can cater any size event. Give them a call today or look them up online at johnnysbbqkc.com. Johnny's Barbecue, the best ribs in KC.
The house just isn't spring clean until you've had a Zero-Res clean. Zero-Res carpet and air duct cleaning is proven to remove more soils from your home. And yes, that includes pollen and allergens too. Only Zero-Res offers a zero residue carpet cleaning, so you get cleaner carpets that stay cleaner longer. Schedule your Zero-Res cleaning today. 3 rooms for just $119 for carpets, or save $50 off a Zero-Res air duct cleaning. Zero-Res, it's the right way to clean. Online at ZeroResKC.com.
Order! Continue, Ms. Garner. With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day.
Objection! My credit card doesn't earn double miles on every purchase.
I object to your objection. With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase.
Order! Please read Counselor's last statement.
With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase.
I'll allow it.
No further questions, Your Honor. Well, just one. What's in your wallet?
Capital One Bank USA, N.A.
He was a key contributor to the great teams of the 1990s.
Timmy is one of the greatest Chiefs ever to wear that uniform.
Great job, Grunny. You've deserved this for a long time. So happy You've made the Chiefs Hall of Fame.
Our very own Tim Grunhard will be unveiled this fall as the newest member of the Chiefs Hall of Fame.
Even after retirement, you've made Kansas City your home. Congrats, buddy.
Congratulations from all of us at Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Dear Mainland, aloha. My brother and I hear about this wave that you do when you go to sporting events. All the standing and sitting seems kind of repetitive, yeah? We believe we have a better option. You do the big wave. Stand up, go to the fridge, and pour yourself an icy cold big wave from Kona Brewing. It's less of a cheer
and more of a cheers.
Good one, brother. One life, right?
Mahalo for drinking responsibly. Copyright 2021 Kona Brewing Company.
With material costs rising due to shortages caused by the COVID virus, it's imperative you call Easton Roofing now to get the best price on a new roof, roof repairs, gutters, and attic insulation. By buying in bulk early, Easton Roofing has been able to keep costs down, but that won't last. With material costs expected to rise 30 or even 40% this summer, the price for your roof will never be cheaper than right now. With Easton, estimates are always free. No payment is collected until you're 100% satisfied. Commercial or residential, it's Easton Roofing. 913-257-5426. Online at eastonroofing.com. Easton Roofing, getting you back to life faster.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is a no-charge appraisal? It's never asking for a credit card or charging for a home appraisal if we can't close your loan.
No risk on refinancing, but I live for danger.
With our rates at a low 2.25%, refinancing with Golden Oak is anything but risky business. Get started today at goldenoaklending.com.
NMLS 114937. 2.25% fixed. 3.195% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit. JLB Corporation, 8595 College Boulevard, Overland Park, Kansas.
Monarchs Fan Fest at Union Station is your first chance to meet the new Monarch baseball team. And the first 500 guests will receive a team autograph pennant. Monarch Fan Fest will have COVID protocols in place and fun for all ages, including inflatables for the kids, craft tables, yard games, and running the bases. Manager Joe Calfapietra, Negro Leagues Baseball Museum Board Chair Kevin Battle, and Royals Hall of Famer, Jackson County Commissioner, and Monarchs first base coach Frank White will all be there this Saturday from noon to 3 at Union Station.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
The show's free. It's a free show. If you don't like
shows sometimes.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Thanks again to Lesky for joining us. We've had two excellent conversations tonight. If you missed any of it, of course, you can always subscribe to Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts. You can just search for Almost Entirely Sports, or you can go to aes.show in your browser, and it'll give you a chance to click on, links to any place you may want to get your podcasts. And you can listen through both 810whb.com and the Sports Radio 810 mobile app, where you can hear all of the podcasting content we do here from Sports Radio 810.
Did I make the top two? Or
you're not a guest. You're not a guest. Did I say with guests?
You just said we had two great conversations tonight. Did I make the top two? I'm just curious.
I think we've had our conversation. Our conversation not over yet. It's still continuing. We've had two great conversations. Our conversation
still going.
Started at 7. We got 8 minutes left?
It's TBD.
Yeah.
No, I know. It ends at 54:09.
Well, 54:09.
Yeah, 54:09.
All right, I'll keep an eye on the clocks. One thing that Rudy and I were talking about during the break that I just love very much, it's why I cut Rudy off whenever he was halfway through the word tragedy, or before he finished his sentence.
It's a real tragedy you didn't let me finish that.
I love it whenever people just sort of misspeaking on the radio. No big deal. We all do it. Po Buddy's perfect. But I love it whenever people use a phrase that they've just been using wrong their entire life. So somewhere in their 20s or 30s, or even better, just later. The later in life, the funnier it is. Because the more years you've spent just totally misunderstanding a phrase. You had one during the break, Rudy, that you mentioned.
I thought worth my wild was worth your while, like WHILE for. I'm not entirely for sure when I realized, but I just before majority of my life I would say, and I guess maybe not majority. I don't remember the first time I heard it. Sure. Majority of my adult like brain supposed to be working pretty good life, I thought it was worth your while.
When do you think you found out that it was worth your while with it like deep?
Probably a couple years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but it's probably been at least a few years, I would say. And
you'd say that you've been using it correctly for those few years since then, yes?
Yeah, my guess is every now and then I've said, like, actually not a guess. I know I have. It's just like here and there, like said worth my while, but then like known immediately, no, that's
right,
wrong.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but like it's like a little bit of still like it's a habit, right? It's your instinct kicks in.
Go ahead and turn your mic back on.
Okay.
There are some people losing their entire minds right now. The phrase is worth your while.
Wait, what?
Yes, absolutely,
so I was
yes.
right, and then I was wrong?
Yes.
Worth your while.
It's worth your while. If an action or I Googled it to make sure that I wasn't the idiot. And if an action or activity is worth someone's while, it will be helpful, useful, or enjoyable for them if they do it, even if it requires some effort.
Huh.
What would worth your while even mean?
It's just like it's really worth it. Like your wildest imagination, just like short for that.
I love
like
that.
It's just like it's kind of like short for that.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Whoa.
Oh, I love that.
Whoa.
And I don't really know what your while
my brain
is.
Whoa.
But let me just, to bring everybody behind the bit, Rudy told me during the break, he offered the example of always thinking it was worth your while before realizing it was worth your while.
I don't even remember how I learned or thought that I learned that it's worth your while.
I don't know. But I almost responded to clarify with you, and then I had to just look away so I could make sure we could have this moment on the radio. Because Rudy, you've given me such a gift.
Oh boy.
You've given me such a gift, my friend.
Oh boy.
Which was to have this moment, but like with extra layers on the radio, no less.
My brain is, I feel like my soul is just up here.
Yeah.
Not even really my soul, I guess.
Floating above your body.
And I'm just like, it's
you're astrally projecting.
Yes, astrally projecting. I'm in the astral plane.
Or
that's where I wanted to be.
Or as you might say, you're actually projecting.
Yes. Oh boy.
Oh, I love idioms. And
Bizarro99 says in high school he used to say for all intensive purposes.
That's a huge one. I also Chaotic Warrior said thank you, Josh. Jesus, I was so worried we were going to keep letting that go. I just had to invite you in to make sure you were there was basically entrapment.
Yes.
It was entrapment.
Yes. Yeah.
It was me going like, are you sure you don't want to buy some drugs? I've got such good drugs.
I cannot be charged for any crime because of entrapment.
That's right.
Now, the problem is I do not have a good lawyer, so I am still going to jail because I do not realize this, but if I had one, boom.
If you go to Seth and say, Josh was a jerk to me, can you help me get out of this?
Great point.
He's got you,
free
dude.
Of charge.
He's absolutely got you. Yeah, pro bono, no question.
Not only is it free of charge, but he has gifted me a subscription to a Substack.
He's got you pro bono, professional Bono, the singer from U2. That's what that stands for, right? That's what of course. Pro bono is short for professional Bono, the singer of U2.
And Seth, it would be a great pro bono. I was like, wait a second, is it Bono or Bono?
I'm Googling misheard idioms right now.
Bono is the singer of U2, right? Of YouTube?
Yeah. Bono sings for YouTube. Oh. So I'm now on a Medium article called 22 Misused Idioms That Make You Sound Like an Idiot.
Oh, boy.
I bet we're going to find at least one out of here where we learn something.
Probably.
Is my guess.
I got 2 minutes.
A blessing in the skies versus a blessing in disguise.
It's supposed to be blessing in disguise.
Yeah, but I kind of like a blessing from the sky, but that's not right. Nip it in the bud. It's like a flower bud, right?
This is one, so it is nip it in the bud, correct?
With a D, correct.
Yes, but this is another one. I bet for the longest time, I don't know when, but I thought it was nip it in the butt, for a significant amount of time.
Because it could be, a small dog bite in the rear.
Yeah.
No, it's the plant.
Yeah.
This is one that I think I would have gotten wrong recently. Deep-seated versus deep-seated. SEED versus SEAT? Because it seems like, it's dug in. Maybe it's seated deeply, but it's actually deep seated.
Oh, okay.
So it's like hard to get out of a chair, I guess.
Then I just learned this because I would have guessed it was deep seated. Like it's buried in your mind, essentially.
I definitely could have gotten that one. I probably would have gotten that one wrong also. Could care less versus couldn't care less. This one's bothered me for a long time. If you could care less, you fundamentally could care more. Therefore, you do not care as little as you're saying.
That's one that I know what's right, but I will say what's wrong occasionally because, especially if you're just like with tragedy, it just happens.
One in the same versus one and the same. You say it quickly enough, it sounds pretty much the same. It sounds like one and the same. But you want to say that thing that I guess are one and the same. I would have said in the same. I would have gotten that one wrong.
I knew it was and, but that one I understand because you're saying it so quickly.
We may cover some of these tomorrow if we have the time, but how about statute of limitations?
Because it's statute, right?
Statute. It is a illegal statute. But I like...
that one I can understand.
I like the statute of limitations.
Which is right next to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, absolutely. The Statute of Liberty. Yeah. That's what's on. The Statute of Liberty is on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty. The Statute of Limitations actually has to fight the Statute of Liberty to the death. They're feuding. All right, thanks to everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Bye, Mom!
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey, everyone. This is Matt Llewellyn for the 23rd Street Brewery. Thank you so much for supporting local restaurants, especially through this pandemic. And you know what? We're almost through it. At the 23rd Street Brewery, we have brought in a few more tables, but still ask that